I forget.
What do you mean in the video? I have no idea. I forgot too, but
yeah.
We'll see.
I'm gonna tag you now. It's actually this. Yes.
It's funny. That one I just added is so funny.
Right. So it's live now. Let me. Yes, it doesn't. It didn't tag you automatically. I gotta tag you. Okay. I'm sure out to a couple pages, and we'll get going. I'm these mosquitoes out here, bro. It's been crazy.
Oh, they getting you?
Yes. I don't know if it's a climate change thing, but we have had a monsoon season. There are mosquitoes everywhere. These aren't like the little low budget mosquitoes that kind of just land on your arm or something. These things, man, they land on your face. They get you through your jeans. They like, these mosquitoes are coming for you. We didn't have summer at all this year. This was just mosquito fest.
Right. They hungry, you know. They gotta eat too. People gotta eat too.
Scarcity, bro. Scarcity. They're hungry. They might have to break a crime. Hey, listen. Same thing with us. When you live in a scarce environment, you live in a scarce world.
Yeah,
the only place that they
fighting to survive. Apparently, too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The only place you can survive is you have to go sell some cannabis or make some moonshine or something.
Man.
Somebody's blood.
Some greens.
The mosquitoes gonna do the same thing we're gonna do. So they're out here, they're cutting me up. I got on, so I'm not sure how long this is gonna last. It's up to the mosquitoes, it's not up to me.
Right. I think once the whole pack of them get you, then they're gonna go about their way. You know, they think about 10 to 15 bites, maybe, depending on.
It's like people too, though. No, because some people they come to the barbecue. And they get a little something, and they go, drink and talk to people. And other people that sit right in front of the layout, the spread,
right.
Just throwing on mashed potatoes, throwing on some potato salad, just eat. You got those mosquitoes too. These things will land on you, but that's kind of gratifying. That's the only time I'm not a hippie. You get one of those mosquitoes land on you, you're like, and you see all this blood everywhere. You're like, yeah,
crazy, ain't it?
That's my blood. If I can't have it, you can't have it neither.
The mosquitoes, where do the mosquitoes, I got to look up mosquito science videos now, man, because I want to know, where do the mosquitoes take the blood? You know what I mean? And maybe it's something connected to that whole transportation of our blood to it, or maybe their system, or whatever the case is, or wherever the hell they're going off to. But maybe that's something connected to our natural connections to life.
I don't think they take it anywhere. Don't they just eat it? They like vampires.
They just eat it to live. That's what they gotta live off of.
Yeah, they eat. It's like a Democrat or Republican. They eat it. They eat the people and they eat the children, and like how they survive. Right?
Because the people are not informed enough to know how to repel these bugs. You know what I mean? So they want to be eaten alive, basically. You know what I mean? That's what the Republican Democrats as well. The people have not informed themselves of the remedies or the things that they can use, like the bug spray, you know what I mean, or the mosquito spray to keep them.
Is it the type of blood? Look what Emmer said is type O plus. I think that's fake news, man.
That's fake news. The mosquito type O plus, the blood.
Is that the alien blood? Isn't it like a type of blood they say that is real rare or something like that? Is that one of them rare alien blood types? So the mosquitoes on Earth don't like Emmer's alien blood or something? Is that what it is? They like me, man. I'm from Earth. I was thinking about that this morning. I was laughing about it.
No, they might really like your blood because you're trying to stick to the natural way. You know what I mean? And trying to stay as close to. They like, oh, this is the quality blood. Yeah, that other GMO bloodstream. We don't want GMO bloodstream too much. This is the prime cream of the crop right here. We got to get more. You know what I mean? It's crazy out here. It's crazy.
It is crazy. The climate's changing, bro. The climate's changing. They're outraged about that this week. The climate is changing. It was Pennsylvania, man. It was good. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
I don't know. Some dude is running for Pennsylvania governor. Huh?
Trump was in Pennsylvania?
No, I don't think so. I didn't see no helicopters around here. You got the helicopters and people. Huh?
I think it was in Philadelphia. I don't know if it was in Philadelphia.
Was he?
Maybe. I don't know. Something major was going on in the city of Philadelphia, and somebody said Trump's name, I don't know if Trump was there or not. I don't know what happened. I just knew something major was going on.
I don't believe it. I think that's fake news, man.
It might be
Because
fake
Trump
news.
was here, you know, these people would be acting a fool. You had the people over there yelling and screaming, "He's taking on the deep state. He's fighting for our freedom and democracy. Yay,
Yeah, you
Trump,
already
go
know.
get him." And then you had the other silly people on the other side. Oh, he's the end of the world. I can see the tornadoes is coming. The zombies gonna stop walking. The world's coming to an end. We gotta fight. Hashtag resist. You know, so I don't think it was. Usually, when he's here, you can see the helicopters flying over the news. You can't get anything else on the news. People acting a fool. So I don't think he was here. But no, it was somebody's running for governor. I don't know his name.
Okay.
Some dude was running, and like 18-year-old girl went up there. I thought I posted it, and she said, "What are you gonna do about climate change?" And he said something about she was naive and young or something like that. So now that hashtag outraged at him. Now he's mansplaining, governor splaining, or I guess it's candidate governor splaining, something like that. It was about climate change. And that's what I laugh about, man. The climate is changing. I don't care what anybody says. Y'all, you can be in any little ignorant, silly school you want to. The climate's changing because the very word climate means it's going to change. It always changes. I don't know how long it's going to change for. But just be prepared for it. It's changing. Don't argue who's doing it, because one side got the billionaires who are doing it, yelling at the other side, and the other side, their billionaires are doing it. They're yelling at the other side. And meanwhile, people don't get anywhere because they don't seem to realize that it's just corporations. There's no man-made climate change. Man didn't do nothing. Man's an idiot. He's a 98% monkey. It's corporations. They're the ones who make all the money from destroying everything.
Yeah, and it starts from, again, that I guess diversion. That's what it is. The media creates diversions. So that way people never get to the core information that they need to understand with, or at least ask the right questions to themselves. You know what I mean? People are not asking themselves the right questions because they're not processing the right information to maybe understand the deeper meaning of the natural evolution of the climate. First, you know what I mean? We have to understand that we don't even understand the natural evolution of the climate because we've been listening to the same, I guess, educated body of people or scholars that say they're the ones that we should listen to for the information. You know, we should trust them with the information because they studied and researched and done this extensive digging to understand what the climate is about and the natural evolution or whatever. And we've relied heavily on what they've told us. You know, we haven't done the independent research as a community in the better interest of our existence. You know, that's what this comes down to, really, the better interest of our existence for the future generations to come and us currently as a people right now. And we wouldn't have any idea what that really is, I think, because of all the systematic way that we live life now shows in just that. You know, systematically, we believe mainstream, or not we, but majority of people believe mainstream media for political information, you know? And when they talk about, what'd you say?
For everything, not just politics. They believe the media for everything.
Yeah, right. But I was going to say, like, environmental information, which is environmental information is so core to our natural just being. You know what I mean? Because we are a part of the environment as a whole, but also within our local environments. Because climates change depending on the area, environment, or locality of the earth. You know, we think about things such in the box of American, like we forget that this is the earth. We are a part of the earth. We are a part of the big picture. We are not a part of the boxed in. This is crazy, bro. We are boxed in right now because we don't even give a fuck about the whole earth. We're like, oh no, I'm from America. I'm from United States. So this is what I got to focus on, everything that goes on in the United States. And if it's not about United States politics, well, what should I worry about the climate of the universe for? What should I worry about the understanding of how the waters flow with the air and how the air interacts with the lands and all that? What do I care about that for? That's for those professional scholars to worry about. I got to make money today. And it's like, yo, we're so disconnected as a whole people. You know, individuals may have information, may have understanding and knowledge about the inner linings of natural things plus the systematic way of things. But as a collective, we lack that information, you know, and it shows in the way we live. Like, it's crazy.
Well, you know what? I'm in Pennsylvania, man. I don't care about the rest of the world. We in Pennsylvania. Right. We don't need the world. We're not a part of your ecosystem. We're like our own world.
So we got to worry about Pennsylvania. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to say, Pennsylvania, man. I ain't worried about Pennsylvania. You coming at me with that Jersey junk? Don't come at me with that Jersey.
I'm worried about Pennsylvania. We gotta say Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania first. Pennsylvania first, Chris. Then we can go to New York. And I'm like, no, motherfucker. We got to worry about all that shit because our minds are connected with all that shit. You know what I mean? That's what that's what I'm realizing, and it's scary because they boxed us into America, but not just America, Pennsylvania, but not just in Pennsylvania. Oh, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm from Philly, so I gotta be a diehard. This was yo. Gee, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Break out of that locality mentality, that localized mentality. Break out of that shit. I was so stuck on being from Philadelphia. I'm from Philly. Oh, I'm diehard. I'm this and that. And I realized, like, yo, they got me boxed the fuck in. You know what I mean? I'm so boxed in, and I don't even realize it because I put my heart and soul into where I was birthed. Yes, but I was birthed in the whole expanse of the earth, you know, just on the small what they call parcels. I was born on this particular parcel of land. Now all of a sudden I have to dedicate my life to the logic of my loyalty to this part of land, when my loyalty is supposed to be to the earth, the entire earth. My loyalty is not supposed to be to Philadelphians. My loyalty is supposed to be to the people of the earth. My loyalty is not supposed to be to Americans. My loyalty is supposed to be to all the people of the earth. You know what I'm saying? And we've been boxed in the stuff that people care about shows. Oh, it's Kavanaugh. Oh, it's like you said, climate change in America, this and that. And it's like, what the fuck is, it's like this. Kavanaugh, okay, you think it matters in the grand scheme of things? Not really. But if you want to think it does, okay, be boxed in within your mind. But guess what? The entire earth, okay, is still moving and evolving. The earth around us. The ground is evolving. And we're stuck in this Kavanaugh. Oh, Kavanaugh. And nature is like, yo, I'm trying to show you some shit in the sky. Did you even look up lately? Have you looked up in the sky lately? Have you dug your hands in the ground lately? You know what I mean? Have you got your hands dirty lately? You dig me? Nature is, I mean, this shit is crazy. I'm losing my mind. You dig me?
Outrage.
You dig?
Outrage is fun, man. But you know, that's the other the end of the world is hilarious, man. If this thing is ending now, it is hilarious. I have never laughed this much, I think, consistently in my life. But people, they get so wrapped up in themselves, and they get wrapped up in their birth. That's what I did a video this last week. I was talking about who are your people, and like, really think about it, like, because you see all these things on the internet. Like, there was that picture of it was like a big concrete structure, and he had all the slaves from Libya. You had them all piled up in there. He just had all these brothers on top of each other and whatever. And people were talking about their concern about it. But, of course, saying who did it. We got to go through all that. Yeah. But that, I look at some of the comments, and like you look at the comments and you read down and they're like, but we can't be worried about them. We need to be worried about us. We can't be worried. Those aren't our people. We need to be worried about our people. And it's just, all I see is, it's like you said earlier, it's all a game. Baby, it's all a game. And you either picking up your little piece and you're playing, or you're trying to end the game. And it's a whole lot of people playing. Here's a good question. I think Sandra asked it a minute ago. She was asking about what's going on with all this cloning Facebook stuff. I got about 50 inboxes about your profile's been cloned, or my profile's been cloned, and don't accept a friend request. What in the world is going on with that? You know anything about that?
No, I don't actually know anything about that at all, as far as Facebook cloning goes. You know what I mean? Because I really don't I get it. Like, it might be a lot of weird activity going on, but that's normal. You know what I mean? Because that's always been going on. People can't this is what's funny. Like, people are acting all, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but surprised. People are acting all surprised in all about these inner workings of the Facebook hackings and fake profiles and all this shit. This stuff's been going on for the whole course of Facebook's technology or internet and whatever you want, Craigslist, anything. There's always been fake profiles. There's always been bot profiles. If people have used the internet, they know this. If people have used the internet, they know that there's always the possibility that you're going to get a virus from something. And it's not just Facebook. It's not Russia. This shit is the history. This shit, it's the damn internet. The internet is airwaves that have hackers all throughout them for the entirety of the internet's life. And there have been bots, there have been clones, there have been all the things that you can make up today. They have already had them. What they're doing is utilizing the election rigging and election tampering and the blaming of Russia on it all to stir inside this minds of people that, oh, it's something going on with the Facebook and internet. These people are trying to do this to me. Nobody's really trying to do nothing to you at all. There's stuff may happen, weird shit like, oh, you logged in and they make you log in again and do this and that, and somebody you get requests from 10 of the same person or whatever the case is. But that's where you have to do the information. You know what I mean? You have to be the one to buckle down and vet everybody and vet these fake profiles or whatever the case is and be in the know up here to realize that is what you're going to encounter on their systems of things. Okay, we didn't design these systems, but they designed these systems, and there are loopholes all throughout them, as there are loopholes all throughout any system, seemingly. But we have to understand that this is nothing that should affect us mentally. We should say, okay, I dig it. I already knew this was going to happen. I already knew this was going to be here, and let me go about the right way of handling it. It's nothing that we give our energy to, like, oh my God, they're coming for me. Oh my God, something's going on. Am I speaking too much truth? Am I telling too much of the right words and this and that? And it's like, no, it's not that deep. It's our energy has to be focused. This is what I'm telling you. It's like we have to be militaristic right now. Our energies need to be formed in a militaristic way. We have to be guarded in our energy because they're throwing so much bullshit out there just to drain us of shit. Like, oh, so when we pay attention to the Kavanaugh shit, think about this, for the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or a month, and this shit has been going on, people's energy has been sucked in that Kavanaugh shit. And all this other stuff has been going on. All this other stuff has been going on, and all this other activity has been going on that people been in the streets working. People been in the streets doing this and that, and everybody got their face on the TV. Oh, it's Kavanaugh. I got to watch this hearing. Did you see the hearing? Was you watching the hearing? Did you see what the lady did at the hearing? Did you see what the guy did at the hearing? And I'm like, I don't give a damn about none of that shit because my energy, your energy, our energy is too precious right now. Right now, I'm telling you, real shit, our energy is too precious. We need to be ready to buckle down individually, but also in the way we communicate and act on the collectively. We can't be spreading that hate energy on the collective. Like, oh, you don't care about Kavanaugh and this and that. You're a loser. You're a loser. How can you not be paying attention to Kavanaugh? You don't care about women if you want that Kavanaugh. If you don't care about this, you don't care about women. It's like, no, I care about women, but I care enough not to be distracted by bullshit. You know what I mean? Because there are people within, I don't want to say this, but I will say this. There are the same people that say that Kavanaugh should be crucified, jailed, and all this, whatever the hell they say. I don't know what they say. No. The physical, not the spiritual, the physical crucifixion. Like, oh, death to Kavanaugh, jail him, lock him up, and put him in exile, and whatever the case is. Okay. But then these same people turned a blind eye to the Catholic priest corruption of the church. And this is like, wait a minute, are we this foul as a people? We don't care. Our energies can be focused on the political theater, but when it comes to our children, our energies are not present because our values or our morals might be contradicted when we stand up against the bullshit. You know what I mean? The real shit that's going on. We might contradict our beliefs now. So we're like, oh, I got to question the Catholic Church. All this energy that was focused on Kavanaugh, think about this shit. millions and millions of people. That energy should have been focused on making sure the kids are protected, not just in the Catholic Church, at the borders, not just at the borders, at the schools in places that they're in. Damn, the people is like, oh no, I'm going to be private about my home life, but my politics, I'm going to scream and shout about politics. But my home life, I'm going to be private about. We can't talk and communicate about that. And it's like,
but it's. I think you hit on it though. I think you hit on it. You hit on it certainly from a perspective of energy. Right? Like you put your energy, you lock it up in places where nobody can get to it. I lock my joy energy. You can't have it. It's not for you. It's not for the deep state. It's not for job. It's not for. I lock my energy up in my vibration level. I put it at a place where you can't have it. And I think that more than anything annoys people because they want you to be mad with them. They want you to be outraged with them. And I have no interest in your outrage. I actually find your outrage really funny. Let me show you this picture. This is what I like right here. This is one of my favorite pictures. Is it's the monkey, man.
Right.
I try to warn people all the time. People want to come be my friend and say, okay, we can be friends, but I have to warn you, I'm not interested in your outrage. I'm not interested in being scared of the things that you're scared, because I'm not scared of the things you're scared of. I put my energy, the vibrational levels, whatever that means. I'm not even convinced you I know what it means.
Yeah, I don't know shit about it. I just feel it.
You can't have it. I'm not upset with Kavanaugh. Here's the truth. Here's the truth, Ruth. If Kavanaugh walked right up to me right now, said hi, I would have no idea who the hell he is. He could be Mr. Joe Blow. He could be the cable man. He might be the milkman. I don't even know what the guy looks like.
Who are you?
Right. I honestly
know you.
I honestly don't care. There are people saying he's going to fix everything. He's going to help everybody. There are people saying he's not going to help everybody. He hates them. And I'm just like, you have a Supreme Court that doesn't give two damns about your life, your kid's life, the Constitution, your government. Whatever happens, the federal government, they always bless and get by. They get something like 8,000 cases a year that they just turn a blind nose to and they don't care about.
Right.
One more Patriot Act writing, authoritarian, don't give a damn about the poor people court appointment doesn't mean it's not going to change a damn thing in my life.
Exactly.
It's not going to change anything. So I put my vibrations up there, bro, and I just kind of laugh through it. It's, to me, it's kind of funny. But I backed away from it yesterday. I had to disappear. I actually had a farm meeting I had to go to. I had to talk about some hemp and some stuff.
That's real. That's the real energy right there.
We should talk about hemp. Yeah, we should talk about hemp a little bit, man. I was posting on it. Hemp is literally everything. Yeah. It is literally everything. The more I look into this crop, the more I really start to understand why they banned it. And I don't even think it was about cannabis anymore, man. You look at reefer madness and you look at all that and you think, well, that's the reason why they wanted to put the Mexicans in prison and the minorities and stuff. I think that those were aspects of it. There was a paper company and a mill, and I forgot his name, William Hirsch or something like that. All that's interesting. But when you really look at hemp and you look at its capabilities, not only does it can be used 25,000 different products, but it makes plastic.
Yeah.
Plastic.
And concrete. And concrete.
And so think of this. So this is what I got in my head. So first of all, pretty much everything in our world is made out of plastic. Everything. In fact, there's a Mercedes-Benz. If we got any sellouts here driving Benz, I don't know if any of y'all drive Benz. I think it's the E-Class, or the C-Class, 7-Class, 8. I don't know. I don't know if they touch back on silliness, but they actually, it's like a certain percentage hemp. They actually use hemp plastic to make it. But you can literally make houses. You can print them 3D. You could literally have fields of hemp, harvesters harvesting them automatically, building houses for people, making flour, making milk, making food. You can eat it. You can use it for fuel. You can use it for the fiber in your clothing. Like literally, hemp makes money not matter. It would destabilize our entire economy. And now I'm really starting to understand it. Like somebody posted a minute ago, and it made perfectly good sense that big oil's big money makers, not even big oil. It's plastic. Yeah. It's all the paper bags and the cotton and the seats and the cars and your clothing and your shoes and all the plastic we're just totally destroying the planet with. And that's the real issue with hemp, why they're very slow to allow people to grow it, and they're limiting it because it would totally throw everything on its head because it's so fast to grow. Mm-hmm. You can use it in everything, and it's something that you can easily automate with a 3D printer to a point where people don't really need anything. You can have an automated drone that grows your hemp, prints your clothes, adds an addition to your house, builds you a new car, makes you some shoes, and then what's the point?
Right. I think you're touching on something that's crucial right now. We, as a body, lack the information to utilize the hemp, the crop, as something that can be beneficial for our future systems of operation. You know what I mean? This is something that's really crucial because I think that they're backdooring us right now. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is, while they have us in a state of distraction, while they have us in a state of arguing, bickering, and fighting, they're putting together their plan to create a sustainable, or they're putting together plans to create sustainable environments in specific spots. You know what I mean? In these specific spots, it's like gentrification. Gentrification targets a specific spot to, you know, make it so that the area looks deflated and downtrodden or whatever cases, so the property value goes down, and then they buy while the property's value is down, and then they create all these beautiful buildings and residences or whatever the case is, and property value goes up. And now not only does the property value go up, but guess what? They provide amenities that weren't there before that new gentrification came in. And the government, and it's not really the government, like it's the corporations. The corporations are working with the government to create policies in the dark that are going to make hemp something that is, I would say, illegal for us, but beneficial to them in their purpose. You know what I mean? Not illegal to, but think about like marijuana. Oh, you can't grow this, but if you do, we'll lock you up, we'll fine you, or whatever the case is. But we're going to create a business to where we can utilize it. You know what I mean? And if it's going to be utilized, you have to go get taxed, or you have to get taxed. You know, when it comes to things that are potentially big industry, because hemp is a big industry. You know what I mean? But we have to have the collective information and commitment to create that industry. You know, while I would say the laws are a little bit more, you know, flexible, because I know the laws are different for every state. So it's going to come down to us. It's so crazy, man. We utilize these airwaves to connect and talk about this and talk about that, and, you know, connect with all these different people from all these different places. But why don't we use them to really connect, like on the ground, you know what I mean, in the street? So it's like, people are we afraid to get up for these airwaves and get in touch with each other outside of the political realm? Everybody thinks that we have to meet up and do things from the political perspective or something like that, but we could utilize each other in, I would say, our love for, you know, other people, but not only other people, but truth and not lies, and our a love for a better life, I could say, because we all want to see a better life for not us necessarily, but the things going on around us. You know what I mean? And we can take this a step further. We politics, we've talked about it, and we did this and that on these airwaves. Why aren't we getting together on the ground? You know what I mean? We can, and it's going to take sacrifice, because we have to sacrifice the things that we love to do or the habits that we have fallen into in our lifestyles, and try to reach out and be committed to connecting those dots, you know, because that's what the system is doing. They've already connected the dots for the history of it. Now they're connecting the final dots to secure their position in control of us. That's what I think is really going on. It's about control, and you control products and crops like hemp, and the mentality that people have surrounding those crops. You control how they think and, you know, navigate industries or alternative systems.
Do you think that they're trying to secure control?
Yes, I think they're trying to
got control.
Yeah. Yes,
they always have control.
They will secure control unless we act now. You know, unless we act now, they will secure control. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I kind of think that they already got control. I kind of think that they already they own it all, they got it all, they know it all, and I think they're just kind of wrapping up maybe the final stages of it.
Okay.
To push us out the picture. Like I said, I think that there are always multiple steps ahead of us, and we're always falling behind. We're always falling behind because we're always blaming each other. Like that's why outrage, like I said, is important to me. Is because we're always snitching on each other.
Stop
we're always snitching. we're always going after poor
snitching, y'all.
You know,
Hold up, G, this is real. No, G, this is real. Y'all, people, we love y'all. This is real though. We have to stop snitching on each other. Like this, look. People will snitch on other folks in their neighborhoods and wherever they. Oh, he stole something. Oh, they doing this. They doing it. But guess what? They won't snitch on the people at work. They won't snitch on the government. They won't snitch on all these crooks and they won't snitch on their jobs that are scumbag and the same people that they snitching on. It's like, wait a minute, we got this shit ass backwards.
You're snitching on the elite.
Don't snitch on your neighbor, your fellow struggler, because we all in the struggle up here. Even though some people's financially stable and provided, but we're all in the mental struggle right now. Don't snitch on that, brother. Snitch on the system of operation that's creating that mental hostility in your mind. You know what I mean? And people don't get it. That's where we get our freedom from. When we see these corporations crumble, then people can feel a little bit more at ease knowing that they won't be taken advantage of by said corporation, whoever it could be, because we're being surrounded, man. We really are. As the millions and millions of individual families, but also collective people, we've been surrounded by the corporations on one side, by the government on another side, and then I don't want to say it, but like by religious beliefs on the other side, because people have been, it's like a triangulation, you know what I mean? Oh, when your mind is not filled with the bullshit about politics, your mind is filled with some bullshit going on about the religion. Your mind is filled with what you think is the spirituality of life. And then when your mind is it's like your mind is getting, they doing a revolving thing with our mind right now, And it's like, we're going crazy, but we don't think we are because we want to have too much pride in our own feelings to be real with ourselves. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh no, I'm not going crazy. I like Bernie Sanders. I'm not going crazy. I support Donald Trump. I'm not going so crazy. I voted for Hillary Clinton. You know what I mean? And it's like, hold the hell on. Oh, well, I voted Green Party, so you're off. I voted Green, so you're off. You know what I mean? It's like, no, we don't need any of that. We need our energies to be collectively put together in love. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to, G. It's the love that is missing can be rejuvenated, okay? Because we can. I don't know. I don't know if it was ever there in America. I don't know, man. I know the hippie city, civil rights movement, love, but
I got a squirrel, man. Just ran out of my chair. I'm losing my
squirrel. They love, man. You probably getting love out there. Yeah, you're spreading the love. Yeah.
It was two. One then ran out of my chair, and the other one stopped and looked at me like, "The hell you doing here? Like, this is my porch, man. I'm sitting." He looked at me and got a little attitude. What the hell? Nature's losing its ever-loving mind because we are.
No, but that's the squirrels they trying to tell us to run, get the hell out of there. You know what I mean?
Get the hell out of there. Yeah.
It's moving. You feel me? It's something. I don't know. We got to listen.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. That bro, you broke my whole train of thought, man. Take it back, brother. The squirrel.
The squirrel is around.
I was about to scream, bro. I was about to scream. About to give me screaming. I was screaming like a little girl. Like a little girl. I was going like, ah! There's times as a grown man you need to scream like a girl.
She saw him. She said she saw him. That's crazy. She saw him.
But I don't. We have not only coyotes.
Okay.
But we got something around here called a coy wolf.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, it's a wolf. I don't know anything about it. The guy was telling me that the farmers are seeing them now because they're coming down from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So the climate's not changing, but they're coming down from Canada. I guess the coyotes are breeding with the wolves or something. It's a coy wolf. So if I'm a little destabilized, something run up at me.
You better set some. I would say set some traps, but set some food traps. Set the food traps to just try to lure them out. You know what I mean? And see if you can catch one at night or something, because that's when they come out at night. They see all these. They see all the manufactured bullshit that we entertain. And they're like, no, we ain't going out there. No, we ain't fucking with them. Let's stay. Let's come out at nighttime when it's a little bit more safe from the bullshit. You know what I mean? They feel. I think the wolves might feel the energies. They're like, no, them people fucked up now. No, their energies say they want to kill us if they get it. They might want to kill us or something. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, man, we used to be one with the animals. You dig me? I don't know what the hell's going on anymore, Jay. I don't know what's going on.
Well, the other thing I think about, man, is how we're raising our kids. Like we're raising our kids to be little bunny rabbits. We're raising them like in a time where we really all know, every last one of us knows, we can't trust our governments. Mm-hmm. Like whether your issue is climate change, or flat Earth, or aliens, or healthcare, or gun rights, or free speech. They're the ones who are always behind it, right? Mm-hmm. They're always the ones. There's always corporations that buy their votes, because that's something I heard that was real wise. Somebody said this week, said, our biggest problem is that in government anyway, mm-hmm. is that it's a job, right? It's not a service anymore. They're not mm-hmm. providing a service for people. They're doing a job for corporations. And the only way that they get to stay in power is if they do what the corporations say, and they're just really good at selling it to the people and not doing it. And that's pretty much what I see is maybe one of the fixes that we need to think about is how do we get politicians to go back to providing a service? Like, of course, that's not step one. Step one is people stop fighting over your bigotry, stop fighting over your little birth bigotry wherever you were born. That's number one. People have to unite. And because 98% of everything we all got in common anyway. And then step two is we have to start to think about ways mm-hmm. to get our government back, to bring government back. Because it's really silly and stupid to raise children to like trust their government, to trust the system, to go get their jobs, go to college, get a job. They'll have a job, and we know they're not going to have jobs. We know that the government's not safe. I mean, 5G is coming out. Somebody did you see that thing about 5G this week? That they said 5G was developed in Israel, but it's not being rolled out in Israel. I don't know how true that is. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. It's crazy to put that stuff out. Oh, I didn't. In fact, on 5G also, I just posted a link. It was a report out of Seattle. It was a local news report, and they went into some of the apartment buildings where they were rolling out 5G. Okay. And they were talking about the problems that first of all, they were doing a test to find out the levels were significantly higher, like 16 times higher than what was legal. Okay. And then he had a doctor on there. What's that? Levels of what? Levels of electromagnetic radiation. Okay. Okay. Put that simple. But the radiation was too high. The levels. And I guess it was Jesse Jones or someone who's like a local journalist there. And then after that, towards the end of the broadcast, he had a doctor on there who was doing tests on firefighters. I'm trying to get the name of this doctor. Dr. Gunnar, I think it's Gunnar Hussein. I posted it anyway. It's on my page. Okay. And what he basically said, he says every firefighter that we tested, every firefighter we examined that installed the towers, they all have problems. They all show abnormal brain activity. Wow. You know, they all had all types of problems. And it's just, it's insane. Now, the most insane thing about it, though, is I went out there to see if it was on their webpage. It wasn't on their webpage. It was not on their Facebook. It was not the actual local news agency out of Seattle. It was nowhere. The story is gone. They got it out of there? Okay. Sounds right. Sounds about out of there. Sounds about right. I think stuff like that people aren't paying attention to, like real little simple things like that. Because if 5G is, and it's not even about government. Like it's not even an anti-government thing. It's an anti-don't be stupid thing. If this thing actually hurts people, if it causes cancer, if it makes people a little destable, if it causes any sort of mental illness, if it hurts, they were talking about the leaves falling out the trees, but next to the tower, that it actually was killing some of the biological life, the trees, the plant life around it. Right. You can't do this, people. You can't do it. You're not, you don't even have the right to do it. It's not even about a government or Israel or anybody else. A hacker could get in and kill you. I mean, a hacker could get in and crank up the power on this thing. You know, who knows what these things can do to people? Like, and guess what? And people are completely powerless to stop it. I don't see them stopping at all. They're running full steam, rolling out 5G. And no one's even questioning, and the government, they're not even going slow. And I think the reason why is at the end of the report, it talked about because these little local governments and municipalities, I guess it was the city of Seattle, they get $1 million per tower. Rolled out.
Yeah, they get money for it.
You're not stopping that. These cities are cash strapped and poor, and a corporation. And this is the biggest problem with like backing all of this. All these corporations and corporate rule of the planet is that the cities aren't going to say no. They don't really give a damn what you say. They don't care if you get in the street, you yell, scream, march, or anything. They're looking at if we roll out 100 towers in the next 3 months, that's $100 million a year. They're not going to say no to that.
No, this is something that's really sad anyway, because nobody don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? And it's not nobody, but you know what I mean. Like majority of people don't give a damn, and it's sad because something that is so crucial to the future of what the future operations. See, you said it's not about government. I think it's a lot to do with the government, and of course the corporations working with the government. You know what I mean? Because the government, in my eyes, is the corporation. So it's going to work with other beneficial or allied corporations that have the same interests, you know, and the interest is not to provide people with something that they can have that is, see, this is what I look at it like. What is the number one thing that the government wants us to do? What do you think the number one thing that the government wants us to do is?
Fight with each other, not them.
Okay, that's probably top 5. The number one thing that the government wants us to do is to continue to pay for stuff that we do not need to pay for. That is the number one thing that the government wants us to do. People have no idea that this is what the government main intentions are, you know, because one, when people continue to pay for things that they do not have to pay for, money continuously goes to something that should have been provided that was sustainable for forever, like water systems. There should be, it blows my mind that people haven't got this one right. There should be no plastic bottled water in any supermarket store anywhere, because the water systems that were supposed to be in place should have provided fresh water to every municipality in America. That's just the simple, plain truth right there that people do not want to understand. But we're paying water bills. We're going to the supermarkets and buying $5 cases of plastic water. Why? You know, I ask myself this all the time. Why am I still buying plastic water? And why am I not trying to find a way to sustainably create a system that can provide me with the water that nature provides all of us? You know what I mean? And why am I not trying? I'm not trying to just do that for myself. I should be trying to do this for my community. But no, we're not doing that. And electricity is free. Electricity
always been.
Brother, electricity always been free. You say this all the time. Now, you've done some videos about this shit, but people are still paying electric bills for the same system of operation, or the same electrical system or electrical grid, supposedly, that has been there for decades. And they're still paying the electrical bills when they haven't realized that we can inform ourselves as a population to the real information and focus of our energies to where we can have free energy for everybody, you know, because we would educate not only ourselves, but we will educate the children on how to keep and maintain that sustainability. You know, you dig what I'm saying? But no, what we do instead is, and that's just 2 examples, electric and water. What we do is this. Oh, we gotta work for this and we gotta work for that. You gotta pay this bill. You better make sure you're paying that bill and this bill. So I'm laughing at you because you can't pay that bill and you gotta rely on government to pay that bill. So you a bum and you lazy and you this and that. Because look, I can pay my bills. Look, y'all, I'm paying my bills. You did. I'm grown. I'm paying my bills. No, you're not fucking grown. You're an idiot. That, and I'm not saying you're an idiot, but I'm just saying, like, I hate that. I hate when people say that shit. Like, I'm grown, I'm paying my bills. No, you're fucking dumb. I'm dumb. We're all dumb because we are smart enough to create our own sustainable systems. So that way we don't have to rely on the lies, the stupidity, and the deception that is coming from this government and its corporation friends. Because that's all it is. The corporations were first ran by these big dogs. You know what I mean? And these big dogs got rich from the corporations. And then they're like, oh shit, well, I got rich off the corporation. Well, I can get more influence if I get somebody on the inside of the fucking government. So what the corporations did was just say, oh yeah, you did this. You're from the financial industry. Well, guess what? We have a position for you in government. So I'll just make you the head of the fucking Fed or some shit. I'll make you the head of the worldwide I'll make something up. The Worldwide International Agency of Reparation or whatever. I don't fucking know. They make all these fucking fake agencies and they put their friends in them. The friends that work with these corporations. So now the corporations is the government and the government is the corporations. But people don't get it. So people are doing what? Spending the money at the corporations. And the corporations are doing what? Putting that money in the pockets of the politicians. And the politicians are they're passing policies that are benefiting the corporations while they're telling us, the people, you had to fight for me because I'm going to fight for you. And I care about what you care about. And we all care about the same thing. So vote for me. Vote for me. And then guess what? Don't just vote for me. Give me all this fucking money that you should be given to the fucking community to build the sustainable systems that you don't have to rely on the government or the corporations. But no, we've given it to these politicians because we believe in their fake politics. We've given it to these presidential candidates because we believe in their fake politics. We believe in the deception of the mainstream media. So people actually donate to the mainstream fucking media, which is beyond me. They actually give their, oh yeah, help us keep reporting the truth to you. And people are like, oh my God, I gotta keep CNN alive. Send them some money. I gotta keep Fox News alive because CNN is saying Fox News is bad and CNN is bombing on my candidate. So I have to keep Fox News alive. So I'm going to send money to Fox News. And it's like, how foolish have we become?
You said it. You said it. I mean, but you know, I kind of agree with something Rebecca just said. And it's money. But underneath the money is just the power, right? Like it's money tends to control things now, so they want the money,
right?
But at the base of it is power, right? Because if you have the money, you have power over people. You can buy politicians, you got power over them. You can write laws, and so and influence. So I think at the root of it, it's definitely power over people. Because if they got the power, like somebody said, comply, it can get you to comply. Right? If they have the power over you and the things it takes for you to survive, then they control you and they control everything they want to. And so, and I'm a partially agree with Brother Thor and disagree. You know, he says, stop complaining and start building. I think it's both. Mm-hmm. You know, people need to start building sustainable lives. They need to start building sustainable communities, but they need to complain more. Right?
Yeah, because at the same balance.
It's the voice, right? Balance. It's the voice that wakes everybody else up. Like the only way sustainable communities get to make it is if government allows them. Mm-hmm. I'll give you my perspective here in the United States. I have a lot of friends who live in sustainable communities, and I see a lot of them going up. I have a lot of friends who were thrown out of them. Mm-hmm. And what happens when those communities get off and they get successful, the government comes in and shuts them down. Code violation comes in and throws them out, right? The police come in and arrest people. And so the reality is, if enough people aren't waking up while we're building these sustainable communities, all they're going to do is just get rid of them. Right? Yes. So we have to do both. We have to, you know, like, because that's one thing that people say online a lot. You know, say, well, what are you doing about it? Mm-hmm. How much time do you have? I can sit down and I can run down for you what I do. I can run down for you all the changes I made in my life. Last night, I just got back from the farm meeting, right? Like I can sit down and I can explain all the things I'm doing. I don't always talk about everything because I don't think that's wise.
Don't let we have to. Right, can't let the left. You know what I mean? Like that. Complain, but complain about the right things. Right? So I agree with Thor and what he's saying is that don't whine about the Kavanaughs, right? Mm-hmm. Don't whine about,
climate change. Don't whine about things where both sides of the discussion are already controlled by corporations. And so it's like a meaningless and moot point. You need to make yourself strong. You got to start building yourself up to make sure you, your family, your community is secure. But then you also have to wake more up. So I think it's both. You have to do both. You got to definitely have to have a two-pronged attack to kind of bringing the corporations that own our government to a heel.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. We have to have a two-pronged attack because it's not like, it's about balance. You have to have a proper balance to where your energies are not being, the wrong energies are not being overly exerted to the wrong things or whatever the case is, or the wrong actions. So it's like when you can get your frustration out a little bit by not complaining, but telling people, you need to tell people why you're mad. You don't hold it in. Tell motherfuckers why you're mad. Tell people why you're frustrated. When you hold it in, you become your energies are storming and raging inside, and you're acting. You can put on the front like, oh, I'm not worried. I'm just I'm not going to complain. I'm gonna just do this and that. But you're still frustrated because why you're doing if you really putting in work. If you putting in work, G, and you out there trying to change shit, you going to be fucking frustrated. I'm telling you this from this point, my own perspective. Yeah. I feel so good when I'm out there doing shit and helping with other people and working with other organizations and things in the community, and it feels good. But at the same damn time, my mind is like, yo, this is some bullshit. Motherfuckers ain't got the money and resources to do this little mission here, there, and there, but they got all this money and millions of dollars to go for the corporations to spend and doing, and it makes me crazy. So you know what? I understand why people are pissed off, but like you said, you got to be pissed off, but you got to be putting in work at the same damn time. You know what I mean?
Here's one of the pictures you sent me. I thought that was kind of deep.
That's how I be. Look, that's how I was in Disney. I was in Disney World. I'm telling you how real this shit was. This was last year, I think. I was in Disney World. I mean, it's Disney World is fun. Everybody's out there having fun, happy, and smiling, and all this shit and that. And it's like, I was like, yo, these people fucked up. What is these people doing? I mean, it's grown ass adults with the kids, the Disney shit on. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? They got the Disney. You still love Mickey Mouse? You still entertaining Mickey Mouse? And they ain't women, no kids. This doesn't go without the kids. The adults that just love Mickey because they adults and they love Mickey all they life. And I'm sitting there like, we robot. That's why I learned we are very robotic. I learned that in Disney World. I'm like, wait a minute, because I was still waking up to things. You know what I mean? I wasn't still in the state of mind I am now. I was still evolving, but I was changing my perspective on a lot of things. So I wasn't just there to have fun with the family or whatever. I was there to observe what was going on within the realm of people, and that shit revealed so much to me, even though I had a good time while I was there, but it revealed a lot to me about the way that we are wired. We're wired to love that fantasy land bullshit because Disney's fake. Yeah. Anybody wants, we could argue and people like to argue about it, like, why are you mad about my joy and what I'm getting happiness from? And I can love whatever I want to love. You damn right you can love whatever you want to love. And I got the right to say it's fake if I want to say it's fake and tell you that you celebrated fake shit. And you can't be mad at me for that. I'm telling you the truth. And you mad at me for like you trying. No, I don't want people to be stuck in that fantasy land. That's why it's like I feel the need to talk about a lot of different things that people in the mainstream still do. Like it's hard. It's so hard, G, because I'm not trying to offend people. I'm just trying to wake people up to the annual repetitiveness of the foolishness. Like, for one, the Christmas season, people are going to be doing the Christmas thing heavy. And it's because they feel joy, but they try to connect it to some deeper rooted cultural meaning when that's not really what it's about for you. It's about going out, getting gifts for your loved ones and just, doing the whole spill of the holiday. And I realized, like, I don't have to embrace that shit because I'm an individual being. And I realized in my individual beingness and my oneness, I realized like, yo, I didn't create that shit. My family didn't create that shit. Somewhere down the line, they created that shit and it had different meaning way back when, but I didn't create none of this. So why do I have to participate in it? Because others' joy is going to be less joyful if Chris comes and says, yo, and I'm not going to come and say, yo, Christmas is, tell people, I don't go up and tell people Christmas is fake and this and that. I just don't entertain the shit. Like, Merry Christmas. Hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? happy holidays. Hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm not trying to pass off love. I'm trying to keep the truth alive because that's what they want us to do. Get sucked into the fictitious and fantasy land shit. They don't want us to speak the truth. They don't want parents to teach their kids the truth. Like, look, son, this Christmas shit is fake. This kids in Palestine, they might celebrate Christmas, but that shit a whole different meaning for them, even though it's fake over there too. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is the way we view these things and the way we allow them to overcrowd our minds is wrong. We're not giving ourselves a chance, and we don't give our children a chance when we keep our minds and mentality the same. You know, it's fucking crazy. It's scary, man. It's scary.
It is scary. Hold on, but Jordan's got another point he wants to make. He's a passionate brother. That's why I like talking to this guy. He says he was talking about problems, but see no solutions being implemented. What's wrong with this picture? I'll tell you why you don't see any solutions is because I don't want nobody to see my solutions. That's why. It's because here you're not allowed to do some of the things that we need to do.
Yeah.
A good example is like rocket mass heaters. You're not allowed to do those things. You're not allowed to build cob houses. You're not allowed to farm certain things. And so people I'm involved with, they do things that they're not really supposed to be doing. So they don't broadcast what everybody's actually up to. But it's a two-pronged approach. And so you got to kind of keep that going. You got to be balanced. You got to be well balanced. You got to take care of your people, the people directly around you and your family. You need to work on your solutions. You need to I think you need to also think about what you promote in public and what you don't. And then you got to keep talking. You got to keep talking. You got to save as many as you can. I mean, we can all go off and make our own little sustainable communities and we can hide, or we can try to save people. Right. I think it's our obligation that we save as many as we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I gotta he says the best way to show people is to lead by example also, and that is true as well. You know, lead by example, let them know that they can speak the fuck up too. You know, because like you said, it's not just about the action. Because it doesn't matter what I do in the streets. I don't have to show and prove to you. I have to help you understand that you have the ability as an individual to be the change. So you can say to us, well, what are you doing, this and that? What are you doing? You know, that's what we have to worry about, what we're doing. We can't always say, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's the energy that they want us to exude towards each other. We have to say, yo, I did this. Instead of telling me, what am I doing? Tell me what you did so we can take example from you. And then other people in the chat can see that as well and say, yo, Brother Thorne did this and this, and I might have to try what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's not just about us that's speaking, whatever. It's about all of us in the community collectively trying to be the example, you know, not trying to badger or, you know, figure out the underlying rootedness of, you know what I'm saying? We have to collectively stay in a state of love, you know what I mean? And be committed to changing the paradigm. That's what I think we're doing right here is trying to change the paradigm, because you could watch mainstream media or you could watch some sincerity being exchanged between us. You know, I think that's what we're doing right now, as far as right now, this little time that we're sharing with y'all. You know what I mean? Because tomorrow I'm in the streets. You did, you know what I'm saying? But it's, I mean, you know, you already know. All right, whatever, you know.
Let me show. I'm going to show you this. This is a pretty. So, you know, some of the things I do are like this. Right. This is a cob house. Like these are. I don't know if you're familiar with cob houses, but they're made from clay. Right. They're like super sustainable. You know, they're 3D printable. They're mostly made by hand, but these are things that they're highly efficient. And these are things that can be made by hemp. Right? So what I was talking about in terms of 3D printing hemp houses. So they're super sustainable, but also they go along with the model of what's it, Brother Mike, who worked on the earth ships. There's an earth ship right here. Right? So there's another house that
where's that
part
at?
of it can be 3D. But I don't know where this one is. This is the one that I grabbed. Mike, they shut down. And this actually is a good example. So they shut down Mike, who was making these. I think he started in Arizona, Nevada. Somebody on here will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Wow.
They shut him down. And the reason why they shut him down is he made super sustainable earthen houses that were not only did they grow food in greenhouses, but they keep the houses cool in the hot summer. They keep the houses warm in the cold winters, and they actually even process their own poop, right? But but why didn't this take off? I mean, this is old, right? Like this isn't new stuff. This is old stuff. No, it's not new stuff. Why didn't it take off? It didn't take off because of government. Because the government came in and shut them down, and most of the houses were, I think most of them were either condemned or a lot were knocked down. Some I think people still live in. Some other states have different coding where you can make them. And so this is why I'm saying it's a multi-pronged attack. If we don't own our government, it doesn't matter what career, it doesn't matter what community you build, they're going to end it. Right. There were a lot of good communities. I think one of the sisters here is from the UK. I'm posting. I think is it Brenda? But they have a lot of sustainable communities in the UK, and they shut them jokers down. Like there were a lot of off-grid communities they had going. So you not only have to build numbers, you also got to build community. And the only way that happens if we talk about it, if we learn about it, if we can talk intellectually about it. What I spent doing civilly. Yeah, and I'm a vegetarian, man. I don't eat meat, but I spent a lot of my time last night talking to a couple that farms beef. Okay. Beef, chicken. I think they do pigs, and they were, these are the folks having trouble with the coy wolves. And why is that important? Because I'm not interested in just saving vegetarians. Right? So when we build these communities, we have to know what we're doing, and it has to come from the people who are farming these things right now, people who actually have the know-how. So I spend a lot of my time educating myself on how do we prepare for it, because if it goes down sooner than what anybody expects, and we don't have the ability to take care of our meat eaters,
it's going to be. I'm telling you, you're gonna be like that dude that people gotta travel far to get the herbs, the remedies, and medicines and shit. You're gonna be like that. Go to Brother Gerard on the longitude. We're gonna have to use some whole different system because they might shut the GPS, longitude, latitude, follow the star or some shit like that. And people are like, follow the stars. How am I supposed to find him following the star? I don't know nothing about the stars.
Well, you have to build these things, but the thing is too, we don't in terms of numbers, right? We don't outnumber them. We don't. Yeah, right? Let me be clear that we do not outnumber them. Well, at least not in my country and your state, Chris, because we're together. We do not. There are still more gaslit people here who are happy to hand the world to corporations and doing everything they can.
Bro, that's
working for them. They're buying from them. Right now, you don't hear many cars on the street because they're at the mall right now buying everything they can. They can't wait to get 5G. So no, we are totally the minority. We are completely outnumbered. There's no question about that. But I get what he's saying. There's more people than there is government, but right now you have more people lined up behind government because they think the government exists and they don't. It's just corporations, right? So we have every country's probably got different things to fight. Here, our fight is we have to wake people up. We have to educate ourselves. We got to get strong. We got to learn how to take care of each other. But we got to wake people up, and the only way to do that right now.
I got enough. We got to be ready to get smacked in the face sometimes. You know what I mean? That's all it is. You got to be ready. And I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about verbally. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you got to be like, stop. Get your fucking mind together. You know what I mean? I tell this to my homies sometimes. Like, they be like, Chris, shut the fuck up. You know how I'm just, and people hate me. People hate because I'm always trying to get to the core of people. And they're like, you're annoying. Shut the hell up, Chris. You always doing this and that. Nah, they hate me. I'm like, no, it's not it's for love. I'm trying to shift your mind and make you think differently about the shit that you've been thinking the same about, and it's giving you the same results. I'm trying to say, look, you could change your mind too. We can all change, and we can change their minds. We can change it's about changing their minds, so they're not falling into these fake emotions and fake feelings about these fake problems. You know what I mean? Because we're giving these kids problems that don't exist. Oh, you didn't pass, so you're fucking a horrible kid. Who gives a fuck if the child didn't pass? Maybe they're not fucking registering that dumbass system that they got built up. You know what I mean? Every kid is not. And then it's like, oh, my kid made the honor roll, and the kids is like, they gotta sit there and watch that shit. All these kids in the honor roll system and shit, and they're like, I didn't make the honor roll, so now they feel lesser. They feel inferior in intelligence world. These young kids feel inferior. And it's like, we're fucking idiots. We should never make any young kid feel inferior about anything. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like their minds is not fully developed until 25, but yet we making them feel inferior about school and education. We're making them feel inferior about sociability. You know what I mean? Oh, you're a virgin. Oh, you, haha, you're still a virgin. Haha, you this and you. It's all different types of men. They coming at the sexuality. They coming at the intellectuality. They coming at the spiritual. They coming at all these different artificial realities that have been created by another group of men. You know what I mean? That's what it really is. We haven't infected this system with our own individual thinking and believing and way of doing things. That's what it is. Like you said, we got to create the sustainable communities that have sustainable thinking. Okay, because this is not just about the environments of what is the outside we're living in. We need communities that have the same sustainable thinking to be on alert of deception, to be on alert of the, because this is about energy. When we have a collective energy of love and peace and calm and understanding together, we can sense when somebody else is hurting because our energies are thrown. This is what it is for me. Like when I go places, I'm taking the energy with me of like, just openness, oneness, love, and all that type shit. And then I get there, it's like, yo, the energy fucked up in this place. People was feeling bad, sad, miserable, and then fake happy. You know how people be fake happy, they be fake good to see you. Yo, Chris, what's up, man? Yeah, like that. Oh, yeah. You ain't really glad to see me, huh? That's how I be now when I go places. I'm like, man, y'all ain't want me to come around, huh? Because y'all know I'm talking about shit now.
Because 30 seconds ago, before you got there and they could hear you, they're like, oh, here come that.
They're like, oh, shit, Chris coming. Chris coming. You ready for that program?
He wasn't even watching the Kavanaugh trial. Like, here comes this dumb. He coming with this. Why he coming with this dumb stuff? And then you get up and they can hear you. You're like, hey, Chris, what's going on, brother? How you been? Yo, what's going down, G?
And look, now when I come around, G, this shit be muted for like the first 5 minutes because they don't know what to start the conversation off because they don't know I go south real fast. You feel me? I start throwing that shit out there fast. And they're like, oh, I can't bring this up, that up. I don't want to bring this to XYZ because they know I'm going to go there. And it's so funny because it's like, I know how my friends are now. So I was like, I kind of try to avoid it as much as I used to. Before I used to just give them all bars. You know what I mean? I'm trying to drop knowledge and information. It's really information. It's not like knowledge that I have. No, it's just information. But they hated it. Now they know I come through. I'm not trying to do it all, but we have to. We have to be convicted to spread the real information to everybody. You know what I mean? It's not just these airwaves. It's our communities. It's our family. It's our friends. They're not going to like it. They're not going to like it because their minds have been made. Like you said earlier, their minds are made up. They want to let government do it. Fuck it. Government. Oh, it's the problem. Government can fix it. Oh, we broke, government can fix it. Oh, we need food, government can fix it. Oh, you need this, government can fix it. It's not somewhere where it's a sustainable thinking where, we're in need. Oh, we can go to our brothers and sisters here. They can help us. I know this for a fact because that's what they're about. You know what I mean? We can go here and here in anything, whether it's shelter, whether it's food, just the necessities of life. That's what we have to create for ourselves is just the necessities of life. You know what I mean? And I don't know, man.
You know what? Yeah, but there's that sociology of it or the psychology of people working together and it doesn't really matter if you have a sustainable community from a technical perspective if you don't have social sustainability, right? If you don't have people who like each other, who get along, if you can build a sustainable community all you want, but if you get you get African Bambaataa in this corner and the white nationalists in that corner, they hate each other and y'all can be in there.
It ain't gonna work.
Right, it's not gonna work. Trust me, I've seen that. It's not gonna work. And so we need to break down all the division. We got to break down all the narratives. People start seeing each other as family again. And so all of that's really important. Right. It doesn't really matter that I can take a ceiling fan and make a water generator, a hydro generator out of it, or a vertical axis wind turbine. I can spend all my time making it. But two dummies in here fighting, breaking everything, then what's the point? So what's the damn point? We got
water, we got free water, but I still hate your guts.
Right, he's trying to poison the water. He's trying to poison the water to get back at somebody else.
Trying to get you out of it.
There's so many things.
The war gonna poison that shit. He hates your guts.
Right. Like we're trying to prepare for bad times coming, and we've got the masses like trying to start World War III. Like, really think about that. Like, the majority of people are still behind the corporations and the fucking politicians trying to start World War III with Russia and China, and they're trying to bring the terrorists here. They're trying to cause more 9/11s because they're so silly, and they still think that Democrats and Republicans exist, that there is a left and a right, and that they should still keep fighting.
Right.
You know, we're heading for very dangerous waters. Like, Chris, one of the things I think about, man, the world hates us. Like, I don't know if Americans really process that. And if you're in Britain, it's not that we hate America. Guess what? Africa hates you. And the Middle East hates you. And Latin America, like, the world hates the West.
Yeah.
And the minute they figure out a way to get back at us, our power's going out. The minute that they find something, they're coming for us.
Right.
You know, so we don't have but so much time, I think, to grow up and mature a government that actually has some ability for some common damn sense to leave these other countries alone, right? Because people will only let you mess with them but so much. And as soon as they get that nuke, it's like North Korea. Why aren't we messing with North Korea anymore? Oh, it's because Trump got in and he knew how to deal with Rocket Man. No, that's not what happened.
Right.
North Korea made a nuclear weapon. That's why we're dealing with them.
Not one.
Attention is focused, right? And now all attention's focused on Iran because he hustled up and made a nuclear weapon. And now we're buddies. That's how this works, right? It's the same way.
Okay, y'all want to talk that shit? Look, we got one too. We got one. Oh, y'all got this? We got one too. Oh, it's the same size. Oh shit. All right, yeah. Well, it's so we buddies, yo. We was only
in the club now. You in the club.
You know that we was fucking around, right? All right, yeah. Go ahead. It's all good. You know what I mean? We got the
playing with you, man.
And it's crazy, man, because we're on the lower level arguing and bickering over this shit when they're on upper levels just seeking to control all of it. Because look, the more allies, the more countries they overrun and make democratic their way, the West democracy way, the more frustration that grows in the people of the world. You know what I mean? Because these people are not asking for these systems of democracy. America and the Western allies are inputting them against the will of the people. But then they have the media. So the media can do this. Oh, in Western Congo, the rebel forces were going against the progressive forces. They painted the key words that we fall into. The progressive allegiance led by U.S.-backed forces, which really is terrorists. You know what I mean? But they painted U.S.-backed, so people believe they should support that group of people against the wishes of the people of the country. You know, because people don't have any information to the foreign events that are going on because they've gotten the lies and been fed by the government, which is GMO. They've been getting GMO food about the foreign intelligence. They've been getting the GMO stuff, but the organic stuff is still out there, but people just have to choose it. You know what I mean? They have to choose it.
They have to, and they're not. And they're not because it's easier not to. It's easier to not wake up. It's easier to just keep living the life you've been indoctrinated and given. It's one of the things I think about too. Is you wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, and half the time I don't even know who I am. You know what I mean? Like, you look in the mirror, and are you you? Do you even know who you is, or are you what you were raised to be? And I think nothing really took me off more that, you know, all the narratives we've been given, all of the labels we've been given, all the things that we embrace, and we don't even know who we are, right? Like, we live. You know, and it's not, I mean, if you really think, it's funny, but it pisses you off if you really think about
it. This is why I'm doing this shit, bro.
You like, look. You lived an entire life for somebody else. You lived an entire life for corporations to buy crap and to work for these. Like, it's insanity to me.
Real shit. Yo,
it is insanity.
That brings up a movie that I remember. I watched it when I was young. Jackie Chan is Who Am I? You know what I mean? The whole movie, he was trying to figure out who the fuck he was. You know what I mean? But I think he was trying to figure out who he was as far as his life, like his family history, whatever the case is in that movie. But that's like it is for me. Like, who the fuck are we? And then when I thought about it, it was like in the collective. I thought about it from being black. You know, I had to think about it from being black because that's what the system has labeled me as and everything. So I thought about like, damn, who am I as a black man? And I realized like, yo, am I even black? Why am I black? Because they said I was black? Because of the paper trail? You know, Russia, I did this. And I said, okay, why am I African American? First of all, if I'm African, why am I just the whole continent and not a specific country? You dig what I'm saying? I'm not from a specific country in Africa, but I'm just an African American. So it's like basically I'm not from a specific place in America, but I'm both. You know what I mean? And that was confusing when I broke it down to think, who am I? But then I thought about like, damn, American. So are white people Caucasian or are they American? You know, but when I see on applications and such, I see white, black, but then I see Caucasian, African American. And I say, yo, who the fuck designed all this shit? Who the hell strategically created all these different labels to divide all these people who are really all one family? You know what I mean? Who are really all just one group of people, you know, because like throughout the history, you touched on this a lot, you know, with your same ancient civilization travels and such, you brought up the different types of peoples that we had, giants, midgets, pygmies, and all the different types of folks, you know what I mean? And that is information that would help us understand who we are, you know what I mean, as in this frame of body, you know what I mean? But we don't know none of that shit. We only know the spins and the deceit and the misinformation that they give us from history class or the National Geographic Channel or this museum or what they might just a little bit of what they might show you, a little bit of what they might show you, you know what I mean? And this is how we formed our logic to who we are. So it's like, oh, I'm comfortable being African American for the majority of people. I'm comfortable being white and Caucasian for the majority of people. And it's like, we have to break out of those comfort zones because it matters to our future generations, but it matters to our understanding of how we process the environments around us, man. In the natural, you know, it's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. But it's safe. Right? It's safe. I mean, that's what I get from it. I mean, a lot of people, they don't want to stop being colors. They want to keep being Creole people. They want to keep playing this game. And the reality is, I just see fear. It's just people are scared to let go of what they're indoctrinated to see. It's because there's safety in numbers, right? If I have other people I can group up against with who I think the enemy is, and the enemy is never other Crayola colored people. The enemy is always the people who colored them.
Yes,
little bastard with the Crayola box. You know,
designed the color. You know what I mean?
And people, you know, and so that's just like one of the number one divisions that people have to let go. It's like half the time now. I think it was Sister Patricia. She posted something. It was a good article. Gosh, I forgot what it was talking about. It was like it had an awesome headline, but then the subtext was like something, whatever. And it's just like it was a very positive thing, but it even riddled in this ideology about coloring. That to me it's really offensive, to be honest with you. When I meet people and they're kind of like, "Oh, you're black," I want to fight. You know, I almost want to fight because that's offensive. I'm not a color.
And look,
I'm not a. You know, that's.
That the words, okay, words. We done fell for the traps. Words don't mean shit, but the way we're taught that words mean shit fucks our minds up. So it's like this. I was always one of them boys that when I was young, you know, I moved to the suburbs and then I first heard a white person call me nigger. And I said, what? Nigger. Pop, pop, boop, pop, 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 boop, pop, 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 bam. You know what I mean? Oh, you want to talk that? What the hell? You know what I mean? Now what? You know what I mean? And this is how it was when I was young because it's all I was taught, oh, you're black. You're African American. Don't let anybody disrespect you. This is in the home. You know what I mean? This is in the house. Don't let anybody disrespect you because you're black. Don't let anybody disrespect this, and that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, I'm buying that because I see that I'm black and I see the TV and the lack of, or what they paint the picture of black as in whatever. And I'm taught the words, you know, the words behind it that are supposed to make me angry, you know, supposed to make me hostile, supposed to make me rage. You know what I mean? So now it's like, oh, you're a nigger. And I heard all this stuff happens to me now. And I'm like, that, man, what is that supposed to do to me? Like, is that supposed to make me be mad at you? And it's like, no, I understand where your ignorance is at. You know what I mean? That's all it is for me now. I understand where your lack of understanding of what your use of the word is and how the context of what the mainstream painted it in your mind. And I understand it now more. You know, I'm not so quick to be mad at people over the words or whatever they might call me as I used to before, because I realize that it's all fake. It's all designed to create division amongst us, and not only division, but hostility. That hostility, guess what, G? That shit is fake. It's not even real. It's not even there. It's a ghost. It's a ghost, but guess what? People believe in ghosts. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do.
Even ghosts, man. Racism ain't really real. It ain't really real, but it's real, but it ain't really real. It ain't really real, but it's a ghost. And guess what? People believe in that ghost. So when they see that ghost, they're like, it's racism. Oh my God, I get scared. It's racism, yo. Oh my God, I'm scared of this and that. I'm going crazy. And it's like, yo, it's like it's 2018, yo. It's 2018. We have the information now. We have the understanding now. We need to utilize our ability to process it. That's a ghost. Why are you scared of ghosts in 2018? This is the age of information. This is the age of modern, or not modernized, but backdated technology. Because this technology we have is backdated. You know what I mean? Right. But we have to stop being afraid of ghosts, man. We got to give the ghost back.
Right. But they're told to, right? Because the whole point is, like, you think about it right now from a Democratic Party perspective, they need racism.
They need racism.
Racism, it is their tool. They literally need racism. If there are no racist problems, they're going to make them. Why are they going to make them? Because that's how they make their money. That's how they're going to get back in power. And so this is why it's racist. It's not because they're racist. It's because they need racism. And so the number one thing that you think that you're fighting, and the people who you're behind, they use it as a tool against you, then you needed to be able to do the math. And it's the Republican thing too. They use it too. They don't use it as much. Okay. They don't, because they don't get as much benefit from it, right? They don't get as much. They use other things. But when people are using tools against you, they're not your friends, right? They're not there for you. They're not, and so we can't seem to get past it. We have to raise the kids with empathy. We got to raise the kids with love. We got to take care of people because they're people, not because, they're vegetarian or they grew up in our country or they're like us or think like us. You got to take care of people because they're people.
That's it. Because they're people, and taking care of them. This is something I'm learning, man. Taking care of them is taking care of yourself. You feel me? Because when we're taking care of each other, when we're taking care of other people, we're actually taking care of ourselves. Because these other people, aside from what the mainstream and the government wants you to believe, these other people are a major part of your natural environment. Do you see this, G? Right. You got to learn to be able to decipher the natural environments from the manufactured environments. And the people are a part of the natural environments. So when you take care of the people in your natural environment pays you back. It gives back. You know what I mean? It doesn't ignore it. It gives back. And not in the ways that you're supposed to be looking for, like, I need money, I need this, and I need that. No, in ways that the natural environments around you think that you need it. You know what I mean? Because nature knows what we need. Nature knows what all of us, every single last one of you on this feed, me, G, whatever, nature knows what we need. But we have to be in tune with what nature's understanding is trying to show us. So that way we can receive it, Or, man, the man knows what we need too. I'm telling you, G, the man knows what we need. And not really, no, he don't know what we need. Oh, no, he knows what we need, but he also knows what we want. So he's going to make sure he gives us what we want. So that way we don't give a damn about what we need, and as long as we can get what we want, why the hell am I going to worry about all the things that I really need if I got all the things that I really want? You dig what I'm saying? And
I dig it. I'm feeling it. And go along with Sister Kimberly's saying right there is that, the reality is we can't take on this system alone.
Yeah.
Right? There is no group in America that can actually get the government back for America. There's no group in Britain that can get their government back. There's no group in France that can make, do what they want them to do. There's no one.
Or Macron, France, Macron.
Okay, Marcon. And so the thing is that people actually have to unite. There's no other way around it because the system isn't going to make a way out for you. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
These people are stupid. They've designed it so people are divided into small enough of groups so that no one can actually undo what the corporations are doing. And so this is why people have to get out of their divisions. You know?
Yeah, and that's
otherwise,
what got the division.
We all come to an end. I like this one here too. It's like we're all gifted. Everybody's got gifts. Everybody's got gifts. And everybody's sitting around and waiting. Here's the question I like to ask. What are you waiting for? This is the Matrix, man. That's why I love these movies. This is how I think that Hollywood is trying to save us sometimes. You know, everyone's sitting around and waiting. What are we waiting for?
Real talk, man. That's what's true, though, G. I got to go, but I want to leave on that note that you posted right there, man. We all have gifts. Gifts. Plural. We all have certain gifts. Everybody's gifts are not the same. This is what we must understand. The gifts of the natural you as an individual are not the same gifts as the natural other person as that individual. What we must do is look past the manufactured clothing, okay? Because that's what it is. Or what they call it, a cloak or whatever. I don't know what the fuck you call it. But the manufactured clothing that the mainstream dialogue and rhetoric has told us to pay attention to, like the cars, the clothes, the money, the accreditation or whatever you call it, the the achievements or whatever the case is. We have to look past the manufactured stuff to understand who the person is in the natural. Because one, that connection is, I think that connection is everlasting. You know what I mean? When we're connecting on hate, when we're connecting on bad energy and low vibes, we're disconnecting actually. You know what I mean? Because we're missing what nature does is this. You might have walked by somebody, and if you're in the right energy and if you're in the right mind or whatever, you might feel something might touch you to say something to the person. You know what I mean? Something might, this is how real it should be. Something might say, you might say something, whatever small it could be, and the conversation started, bam. You get some information from that person that you really needed because something was going on in your mind that you needed clarity on, and bam, that one conversation to that person that you don't know from a can of paint, but were led by your good energies and staying in the right energies to have that. And we don't have a lot of those conversations because we put ourselves in low vibrational frequencies. And we don't want to interact with other people because the government and the media tells us, oh, stay away from people. Don't like people. Hollywood tells us that, oh, only fuck with people that you have something in common with. If they're black, fuck with black. If they're white, fuck with white. If you're a geek, fuck with geeks. If you're cool, if you're a jockey, only fuck with jocks. If you dress nice, only fuck with people that dress nice. If you went to college and graduated, only fuck with people who went to college and graduated. And we're boxing ourselves in with the manufactured bullshit. We're not allowing ourselves to reign free with the natural things going on all around us, you know, and that's what we're missing because everything that we're fighting for in government, I think everything that we're fighting for in government is provided by nature already, you know, and I think we just have to find a way to educate our young, but also self-educate ourselves how to create the sustainability around those natural things, you know, because people like you have knowledge in many different things that will be beneficial to the core of that community. You know what I mean? As well as people like Jay-Kob, Kimberly, Lori, Carrie, and all the other different people watching. You know what I mean? They all have different traits and benefits that will contribute to the community. But we have to stop giving our energies to that manufactured systematic design. You know, when we do, I'm telling you like this, I met Jay-Kob in person. You feel me? And before I met him, we going back and forth and shit, you know, because Jay-Kob is one of those thinkers and philosophers. But when we met in person, it was all good. Oh shit, you cut off. When we met in person, it was all good because like, yo, we're connecting on a higher vibration because we all felt like the energy there in that room was just what it was. It wasn't about no politics or bullshit. It was just connecting and trying to understand how we can create solutions to the problems that we see going on. You know what I mean? And that shit was boss dog. I'm telling you, that shit was like, it was like, damn, dog. We was connecting and creating ideas out the thin air. We didn't know, nobody really knew each other. We only knew, but that's what I'm saying. That's what the connection that we really have is when our energy is put towards the right mind frame. Oh, Jacob's right there. Look at him. There you go, Jacob. What's up, buddy?
He's gonna come in if you want to hang on. You can hang on.
Hold on, I'm gonna joke on Jacob real quick. He looking like the boy from that movie from back in the day. Just because of the hat. It was like they was in the fucking, but you know, the back of the day movies where the little young kids would wear the hats and shit like that.
What you know, Daddy hat?
Newsies.
Huh?
Newsies.
Probably Newsies. Oh my god, and the hat and they running there. You know, they was little fucking rebels and shit. You did?
I was thinking about the newspaper delivery boy that wore the hat. Wasn't it a little like a newspaper delivery cartoon? The Newsies. Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, man, that's funny as hell.
So, anyway, so what's going on, Jay? Chris, did you have to run?
Yeah, I gotta run. So just take Jake. Hold it down, Jacob. Man, G, it was good talking to you, brother. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You already know. Stay deprogramming, reprogramming. Stay with G. Jake, it's about to get real information, though. You dig me? Because my man Jake, he got up here and the book, and it's like, yeah, make it work, y'all. I love y'all, brother.
All right, brother Chris, love you now. What's going on, Jay-Kob? What's up?
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Man, I'm doing good. I have no complaints. And if I had complaints, I won't complain. It's the point.
I hear it. What's the point? No, I love what you guys are talking about today. Thank you, Kate. Especially, and something you guys were just saying, actually, about how, like, talent, everyone's got different talent, right? And like I said, like, something I commented before is that, like, you know, everyone's talking this resource, that resource, blah, blah, blah. And everyone gets all offended by the term human resources, which I think, you know, in a corporate nature, I get that. I think it's, you know, because of the way a lot of corporations view human resources, I understand. But that being said, I think, like, it's a good example of how we are, human resources are our greatest resource. We are our greatest resource. And like Chris was saying, our talents, our skills are not distributed equally. So that's a good example of a micro macro of how, you know, everyone looking for this equal distribution of resources is not going to happen in the way that they think is an equity of outcome. But what I feel like we really need to do is better coordinate our use of resources, our ability, like, you know, our talents, our actual resources, they need to be properly coordinated, not arbitrarily equally distributed. It's why, like, it's why I understand being against affirmative action, because I would never argue that there aren't times in history where a drastic measure is required because of some type of systemic bias, but a blanket mandate to produce equality based on a generalization, no matter what, excludes far more than it includes by nature. So you can't have this, like, that's what kind of bugs me about everyone who's so disenfranchised with the system, but is also still so hung up on elections, politics, because it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's not even, it's not going to fix what's going on. They create the problems that they then need to fix in the first place. So, like, I'm not really sure sometimes where people's heads are at with all of this. You know, that's my only dilemma.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you. Well, it's tribalism. Like, I don't believe in equal outcome. I don't believe in that. And you know what I believe, and I don't believe in affirmative action either. But I think as when there are times that things are so bad that you do have to try to uplift people, or you need to correct a wrong, you need to look at everybody who is wrong. So if I can get in a time ship and I can go back to affirmative action, because these things were done to create problems. They were not done to solve problems. They were, to me, they were done to create problems. I would go back. I would go back and I would say, right. So, you know, so what is the problem? Is the problem that back then African Americans didn't have opportunity, or was the problem that a lot of people didn't have opportunity? Right? Like, you know, it's a question of, you know, are you there to deploy a racist solution? Or are you there to solve a problem? So if the problem is that poor kids are growing up without food, then you need to address all the poor kids who aren't growing up without. So I'm all about opportunity, right? So I'm all about, at the root, what are you trying to solve? Are you trying to help black people? Are you trying to help white people? Are you trying to help, Christians? Are you trying to help Muslims? Are you just trying to help Americans? Are you trying to, or is there something at the root level that's not happening that you want to help everybody in? And so this is what I see with all these solutions. They're deployed to help one group, but to keep everybody still caged up in this tribalistic fight that keeps corporations in control of all of it, or keeps government at the time in control of all. So I totally agree with you, but we know where people are. People are right where you say they are. They're in their own little ignorant, bigoted world, whether it be a little ignorant, bigoted Christian world, black world, white world, Hispanic world, a British world. And as long as people are in these little silly birth bigotries, there's no way to get out of this mess.
Absolutely. We're given these ideas that make us build our own cages, and that's the most dangerous thing. It's much like, that's why, like, it's not like people scared that, like, it's going to return back to subjugation under the sword, so to speak. It's not going to be that simple. Like, they already figured out that the pen is mightier than the sword, that you could, that enslaving people's minds is far more effective than enslaving their bodies, because if you don't enslave someone's mind, you can enslave their body and it won't necessarily have the same effect. So if you have somebody defeat themselves and then, deep down know that they're not going to fight back as hard. They're not, if they can't see the change. And I'm with you. I there's a lot of stuff that I talk about what I can on these things, but I don't live and act what I know out on social media all the time. Like, I have, a group in the private. I've given little windows into that in some of my live streams, and I think, like, that's important. People do need to, like, I do agree, like, with certain things, like, that I see in these streams. People do need to come together, acquire land, coordinate, and understand, like, how all this stuff works. Like, the reason that these sustainable communities can be shut down more often than not is because people are all hung up on just how to do that, and wanting to abandon the system, they don't want to examine the system enough to know how to make it clear that they can operate that way. And there's ways to do that and there's ways to do that in which, if you do it, it would make the quote unquote system have to be a hypocrite to shut you down. And since there's so many other people who do overlook all of that, people say, oh, no, it's crazy. You can't just do this and that, and then they'll just leave you alone. Okay, well, you can, because I do this and that, and I get left alone. I know a lot of people who do this and that and get left alone. So we could ignore that. We could ignore a huge element on the board that needs to be dealt with if we want to build these things we want to build, or we could just keep trying to build them while ignoring that, and it'll be much slower going. I think that, like the needing to see the enemy side is not going to help. Like, I don't advocate a lot of what quote unquote the system does, but the system is not my enemy. I have no enemy, except for the only enemy I have is the mentality of the mob. And that's why things like like when people talk about socialism and fascism, which are two sides of the same coin, it's mob mentality. Mob mentality seeks to take from the rich and give to the poor. It sounds nice. It sounds like compassionate. It's not. It's the same
It doesn't sound nice to me.
Right. But it's that. You don't become the better person by doing exactly the same thing they did, because guess what?
You become them.
They become the new ruling class.
Right.
You're gonna pull a guy out of his home and go live in his home. Now you're the rich guy. Do you feel better?
Well, they will feel better, and that's something that you and I totally agree on. There are people who actually want to fix things, and then there are people who just want to be the one on top who needs to be fixed, right?
Right.
And so that's the issue I have, is that there are people who worship the rich.
Absolutely.
And the only reason that they're upset is because they're not rich. They hate Donald Trump because they want to be Donald Trump. They hate the liberals on the top because they want to be them. But I think that we're in a time we have this social media thing where we can actually utilize it to actually start to talk about the problems and the different solutions we have. Like I said, I don't tell everybody what I'm up to because I think it's stupid. I know who runs social media. I know who owns it. I know who constantly watches it for what we're up to. And maybe they all know anyway. They all know what we're up to anyway. The point is everyone's got kind of a different idea on what the problem is. Everyone's got different solutions. And if we can have these dialogues, we can talk about it. And I get from you that you're probably more of a capitalist type of cat.
I'm not, you know, I don't like the term, I'm nothing. I'm no one thing. I believe social programs need to exist. They've always existed and will always exist in some form. Capital is what it is. It's the means of production. That will always exist. Capital exists. Or we could call it something else. If people don't like the term capital, we can call it the stuff we need to do what we want, but that's what there is. But just like people, giving people handouts doesn't help. Making people feel valuable helps. Making people feel like they have something to contribute and that their creativity is meaningful helps. Which is why, like, I like these conversations. I think there's nothing that we need more right now than like open discourse about this, not just talking at each other, but talking to each other.
Absolutely.
But I'm mainly focused long term on creating basically like alternative wellness and education centers for people who want to come to them, and for people who want a place for their children to receive true education and not just schooling, because I think like it's the cultivation of the future generations that counts, more than changing the minds of people my age and above, who can sometimes be very set in their ways. And you know, like everyone bitching about the illusion of scarcity. Well, stop bitching about the illusion of scarcity, because it's an illusion. Stop focusing on the fucking illusion. You know, like
and overpopulation, right? And these things that don't actually exist, they're artificial. So people hear me talk all the time. I want you to answer this question. Brother Bajorn says, take it from those who took it from us. I see no problem with that.
Who took it from us?
I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, but I want to know who took it from us. Give me specifics. If someone came and took stuff 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, it's in the past. We are here where we are now. You don't take from people you have, unless you know those people are without a doubt maniacal, evil people that have actually stolen from you. You don't get to determine on some little window into a situation whether they're worthy of being stolen from. So that's always the question with this redistribution. Who decides? Who decides what's equal? Who decides who gets stolen from and who doesn't? The truth, a lot of people that have a lot of stuff work very hard for those things. They work very hard to put together what they have. And I work from organizations where I literally don't own anything. That's how they work. That's why they can work the way they do. And the problem is everyone's trying to own things. I have a lot of shit that I don't own. I can enjoy it, and I supply it to those who I take care of, that they can enjoy it too. But no one owns anything. Capitalism means control the. Okay, these generalizations. That's what I have a problem with. Capitalism means. I'm not here to argue over the meaning of capitalism, over the meaning of these like.
Well, no, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely not an argument. I want you to give your perspective. I mean, it's you guys are having a discussion. I'm kind of I'm sidelining, but
very few people ever get specific enough with me to have a real discussion on it. I mean, I don't mean to sound like a prick, but
sound like a prick. That's okay. We're all family here. We're all family.
Like, mention of this that a lot of people refuse to wrap their head around, and it's not an opinion, it's a comprehension. I'm talking about things I do, not things I might do, or like most of the time when I'm talking talking about what I know, not what I believe, not what I rather this be that. Like I'm cooking with the ingredients we have to cook with. Then Randy, explain to me why I'm mistaken. You can't just say I'm mistaken, because I never just say someone's mistaken. I always give reasons. No one ever gives. You can't just say you're mistaken. You can't just say the system's evil. What about the system is evil? Where in the system is it evil? Who is perpetrating it? Put it this way: take this continent back 1,000 years. That makes no sense. Okay, what does that mean?
Let me. I guess let me chime in here. I mean, thinking out loud. So first, and for me, from my perspective, I'm not a capitalism guy. I'm not a socialism guy. I'm not a communism guy. I'm a automation economy guy. I think
ism sucks.
I think I am a let's take care of everybody. Let the robots take care of everybody. Every kid has food, house, water, education, the things that they need. And above and beyond that, I really don't care what the system looks like. I guess my issue, I come from a human rights perspective. It can be capitalist, it can be socialist, it can be all of that. It can be different little communities of all that, whatever people want. But I think we're going into a new day, which means we need a new model.
I think so too. And I'm I'm with you for the rights of the individual. I won't even call them human rights, because that's something that means so much to different things to so many people. But what I'm definitely for, which I feel like implies human rights, is the rights of the individual to do what they will, as long as they're not harming those around them. And that's like really where, and I think, but for that to happen, people have to get out of this group think that others need to change it for you. That the system needs to be implemented. The system that no one likes needs to be implemented in a way where it's going to take from others and give to them. That's not going to work.
Right. And I'm not a take it from the rich guy. So,
but
like
I see a lot of that on here. As much as people want to talk fun and love, they also condemn with out the other side of their mouth, and want to, think like there's this evil that exists in others but not in them. We're all capable of light.
Let me try. If I can translate what some of the folks are trying to say. Maybe what they're trying to say is that, so who took it from them? I think maybe it's trying to be translated as the wealth of the world, the minerals, the resources, all of these things were consolidated amongst few families or a few elites or kings or lords or whatever. So no one took anything from us. But the they who are still around, I guess they're saying the wealth that's been handed down. So as an example, through colonization and things that were stolen from those people. And in fact, some of the physical things that are still there, not just the minerals, but the artifacts and things. Those things are handed down from family to family to family to family.
Yeah.
And feeling that those things should be given back to the lands from which they were taken from. Maybe that's what people are trying to say. I guess let me say that.
Right, but it's impossible, because first of all, the they everyone talks about, nobody knows who the real they are. The they you think you know, they're too smart for that. They put things in front of your face so you'll look at that. Like, everyone simultaneously overestimates and underestimates this they talk about. I mean, there's no, so what we need to do, in my opinion, is the same thing they do, is pass down our knowledge, aggregate it, give it, keep it for our families and loved ones, and teach them how to work in this thing. We've been conned into starting over every generation. Every generation, you're out on the nuclear, you're out on your own. For most of our existence, families stayed together, villages stayed together and passed on that knowledge, that information, and in trust, whether not in necessarily the trust entities, but in trust, in family and communal trust. And that doesn't happen. We've been trained to not do that. Stop looking at others, and build something ourselves. That's what we need to do. We want to take what's, it's jealousy. I don't care what people say. When they say they want to take from someone else, they're jealous.
Yeah. Well, my perspective there is I don't want anything that they have. I don't care anything about anything, except for the artifacts. artifacts, the scrolls, the scriptures, all these things that got people confused, all of that has to come back. Like I think two people mentioned about the Vatican and how they're like hiding all these scrolls and scriptures. All of that needs to come out. I do think that a lot of the religious texts were altered and modified, and that's why a lot of people act the way that they do. So I think all of that has to come back from a human history perspective. But in terms of their Benzes, their mansions, their gold and jewelry, me personally, I don't want any of it. I think they should keep it because
I'm the bigger issue.
Number one, yeah. I mean, number one, if you have the money, you can hire the military to keep it anyway. So I don't think there is no taking that from them. But I think all people need is the model of their world back. Right? People have their governments, and their governments are actually doing what they want the government to do. Then I think there's a shot. Right? Like if people have control over their world, then they're good to go. Like the wealthy can keep all their mansions and their yachts and everything, which is what they want. But if people control the direction of the world, I think because I don't say eat the rich. My focus is just mainly the model of the world. That makes sense. I don't know if y'all can chime in if you want. That's kind of where you were going with it. But yeah, I don't have any interest with anything anybody else has. My interest is our kids can't continue to live like this, right? But Chris and I were talking about earlier that the model has to change. We can't keep handing our kids the same problems that we have. Our kids are going to have a whole different set of problems that they need to deal with, and they can deal with the problems. They're going to have to deal with challenges in their generation. They also are dealing with the crap that we know better to not hand them.
Absolutely. But giving our children like these messages of the fact that like we can tell our kids what they're being peddled in these institutions isn't the truth without telling them that everything is the enemy. Like just you can tell kids that like they've been lied to. If you don't give them something to work with, then you're just going to create more resentful people. I mean, like, yeah, I just don't. All this blaming is pointless. Like, you know, blame in one hand, shit in the other. See which fills up first. You know, it's
blame is how they keep us here.
Exactly. But like that's what I mean. Like I just see people complaining about something but playing into their hands simultaneously. It's like I feel bad. Like I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I don't need to. I own my own mind, and I'm literally doing the things I talk about. So I see this on circles. He just doesn't get it. I know, Elizabeth. Go back to John Son's page, honey. All right. See, like I'm not. I can't. I give you credit, man, because I can't be as amicable as you. I can't deal. Like I'm so averse to ignorance, and there's so many people out there right now who are in complete denial of their own ignorance as they profess to be open-minded and woke. And that's that people don't like that pill, but that's a pill they must swallow.
Yeah, I guess for me,
okay. See, this is the thing. No offense, Randy, but if extinction is knocking at the door, if you're so committed to that, anyone committed to that line of thinking, kill yourself now. Just kill yourself. If the world's ending, what's the point? Or enjoy your life as much as you can before it ends, and stop sitting around these live streams and doing that. Like, sorry. I can talk like this because I'm not looking for anyone's advocation, because I am doing things in the private. I have real people and real things I care about and doing with, and see that they're really putting in what they're putting in. I won't betray them like that. I mean, it's sorry. You all can throw around your aphorisms and your vague, virtuous statements, and they mean nothing. They mean nothing to me. They mean nothing to anyone of consequence. And I might sound, I know what I sound like, but like I want to. You got to wake the fuck up and do something. Get out of bed.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess my
then don't focus on extinction. Focus on solutions.
Yeah. So let me see. Let me think about it. Like, so am I amicable? I don't think I'm amicable. You know what? I think the way that I think is that
You're very
Mhm.
diplomatic. You have a patience and a diplomacy about you that I very much recognize I do not have. So like, I mean, like I'm not.
I don't. Yes. Yeah. Maybe it's diplomacy. Maybe I just know how dumb I am. That maybe it's just that. No.
But
I guess the way that I think is that it, if we don't know how to talk to each other, if we don't know how to listen to each other, then nothing changes, right? And the bigger demon is nothing changing. Right? So I'm okay with everybody's solutions. I'm okay with everyone, like that highlights different problems. What I try to do the best that I can is to get down to the root of what they're really saying, right? And so, in terms of arguing over the model, I don't think that's really necessary because I think most people, like 98% of the people, all want the same things, right? I think that, especially here, like I see you guys going back and forth, but I don't really process what you guys are arguing about. I don't really process that you really want different things. I think you disagree on the solutions, perhaps,
see,
but I don't think that. Uh-huh.
no, I agree with you completely. In fact, I say that a lot. That like most of the time, we're not even fighting over what we agree on. We fight over how to get the things we all agree on, or worse, what to call the things we all agree on.
Yes, you're right, and this is where I'm going. And these are not things to argue over, right? I don't think they're things to argue over. I think that we have a bigger enemy, and if whenever I get to a point where I disagree with what someone says, I'll give my point, and I'll let them have the last word. They can have the last word. I don't really need the last word. And hopefully they think about the things that I said, and I try to think about what they said, but they're not my enemy, right? Like everybody here wants to change the system, right? Like so we're all allies. And so, I'll do the best that I can to not really piss anybody off, to really not go there, because if I piss somebody off, then they're not going to hear anything that I said. And so the whole time was wasted. So I don't know that I'm all that diplomatic. I like to have discussions that are productive. I like to be able to process what they said that maybe I don't get yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do, and I think that, and I feel like basically the same way, but only like the way I kind of go about it is because I've also had a lot of people that I've pissed off initially that, but because the way I do it, because I'm not just parroting rhetoric, they come back around and think about it. So like I rather, like I like saying, like I think sometimes like the best love is tough love. So like I really think that sometimes like I don't have enemies, but I do draw lines in the sand sometimes where there needs to be a line drawn, because I'm not gonna just waste time and energy letting someone else spin their wheels out of not wanting to turn them off if they just can't see a multi-dimensional picture. I feel like a lot of people have a lot of trouble seeing that nothing is just one or two simple things. It's a million, independent moving parts working together. It's like a watch. Like under like the face of a watch seems very simple, but you open up the face of a watch, you see what's under it, and it's this intricate system of simple motions that create a, a face that makes sense on the outside. And that's the way everything is. Like no one of us is simple, but we think things can be simple. Everything is equally as complex and multifaceted as the individual. And that's the whole thing. I don't think people believe and have faith enough in themselves to do half the things that they profess they wish to do. And they don't demonstrate, I think, in mass that they're willing to do that. They demonstrate in mass. They're willing to give lip service to things, and then get together in echo chambers and throw back and forth how oppressed we are, how stacked the system is against us, and all the other excuses people give. And they're just excuses, because action is all that counts. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I know too many, like everyone I know who's really, really, really doing things aren't overly complaining about the way things are, because they know they're doing something.
So the other thing that I see is I see the passion. Like I outside of the details, I think people argue because we really lived in a jacked up society. We really live at some very difficult times. They're great times, but they're also difficult. And so I think a lot of that passion gets in the way, which is a great thing. I mean, it's all based in love, right? Like people, they're really trying to make it work. But I think we all, including me, I mean, we all need to work on not letting that passion trip us up and arguing with someone who agrees that, you know, that the world does need to change.
I think we need to change. If we change, if we change within, the world will change without. You can't exchange the external. It just doesn't happen.
Right. But I think the right solution will bubble to the top, right? Like I think as long as we have these dialogues and everyone puts their points out, and you're changing yourself in your own mirror and you're promoting those things, whichever one of those things works, whatever that solution is, the majority are going to embrace. Right? And that's the benefit of dialogue, right? The benefit of having talks that aren't too riddled with compassion and emotion. It allows the right solutions to get the right support. So I think we're heading in the right direction. I think I try to do my best to eject my emotion. Maybe that's what it is. I try to do my best to eject my emotion.
No, you do, and I feel almost like I kind of function the same way, maybe just on the other. I look at all of it with a lot of compassion for the situation, but with dispassion for these like little focal points that divert from the big picture. So I'm a very big picture type of person. I can't just look at one or two things specifically, because it never is one or two things specifically.
Yeah.
And well, it's hard. And like, and the fact of the matter, I didn't grow up with money. You know, I didn't. And when my family moved out of Brooklyn, when it got, you know, kind of really shitty there for a while, because I grew up in Brooklyn, like the heyday of crack, and you know, or kind of like where we were living went to hell. So I remember coming out. We moved to Jersey, and you know, we didn't have furniture. You know, we had a house. It was nice. You know, a well-off friend of my father at the time helped him do that, because they didn't have, you know, my folks did get more and more successful over time, and said, but like they didn't have a lot to start out with. So I remember like moving here and, you know, all sleeping on like a couch mattress on the floor with no furniture, and building up, and kids here making fun of me because I barely had, like, you know, I didn't have the right clothes or the right this, the right that, and like, and just like, you know, people like, I feel like the bad thing about this social media world is people see you and they assume your entire life and your entire being based on a few things you say, and then, you know, go off on some high horse about it. And the one thing I do, like, I know I can be very, you know, brash and outspoken, but I'm not just like, I'm not just spewing rhetoric. I give reason. I'm very logical about what I'm saying. I'm talking about actual things. You know, people don't want to hear about code and the law and this and the that, because they don't want to deal with it. But you got to deal with it if you want to move past it. Transcendence isn't escape. Transcendence is integration and elevation. And people, I feel like a lot of people use transcendence as an escapist term.
Yeah. I'm tempted to do something here. I'm not sure if this is wise.
Change your human being. John, you are a dangerous human being, and that's all I got to say.
Hang on. In fact, that's why his comment is there, because I do understand that something went down with you guys, and I don't know the details of it. I'm kind of curious as to if it's too soon.
Having company, and he wants to disguise it under compassion.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said John wants his misery to have plenty of company, and he disguises it as compassion. That's his problem.
Well, okay. So I'm not knowing what happened. I'm tempted to. I wonder if we can have a dialogue. Do you think that's possible?
I'd be fine with that. But
under the guise of not attempting to win, but under the guise of if I bring you both on, can we have a discussion as to try to find common ground? Is that possible? And I guess I'm asking John too. Maybe.
I mean, I'm fine. I'm not trying to win anything. That's the whole thing. I'm not trying to beat anybody else. The game I play is me versus me.
Okay. So John, if you want to come on, I'll bring you on.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to have a real conversation. But the
reason I'd entertain it is I think both of you have your heart in the right place. Like I watch your videos and I watch where your heart is. To me, it kind of sounds like you guys hit a road bump and you disagree perhaps on solutions and approach.
Well, the road bump was I don't agree with his completely fatalistic view based on his specific situation. And when I offer information into the system that, yes, screwed his particular situation, instead of giving it credence and saying, hey, well, maybe this information might be able to help these people that come and listen to me who are going through the same thing or gone through the same thing, he dismisses it and insults it out of hand because he just wants we the people to rise up. He doesn't want anything, again, no specifics.
But
and people just say we need to rise up and take it back violently if necessary. No. You don't get to incite violence.
Yeah, like I said, and I agree with you on that point.
And if you unconsciously or consciously play a part in inciting a mob, then we are not cool.
So I agree with you from a violent perspective, right? But I'm noticing y'all. Some people maybe don't know where I stand on this whole white privilege thing. I'm seeing a lot of white privilege comments coming up, but let me say it this way. I've never been to prison. I've never had my kids taken. I've never experienced some of the systemic legal violence that our government deploys on people. I used to be involved with the family court system. I do understand that people go through immense amounts of depression and pain and going through that court system and having it steal your children and not being able to do anything about it. So I get that there are a lot of people who are going through very difficult situations in life that I can't even fathom. And I don't want to use my being raised in a good home Black privilege against anybody who's been through things that I don't really understand. I do my best to get along with them, but I do understand there are people who have that so much passion and aggression and pain that it manifests itself in a way that they do want to rage against the machine. They totally want to fight the power. And I've noticed that about Brother John. I've noticed about Brother John that he does have aggression there. But what I try to focus on, and while I disagree, I haven't seen him say anything about being violent, but I've seen a lot of people say things. And usually when I see posts like that, I don't allow them. I delete them or something like that because that's how we bring the state into it, right? That's how you bring the security agencies and you bring a lot of problems into it. But I always try to keep in mind that I haven't gone through the things that a lot of people have. And so I try to make space for people to dispel that, but also not take it to a inciting violence perspective. So
That's and honestly, and also the way the amount of disrespect he showed to me and to Mike John, like we've disagreed before, but we've never like he was the first one to start cursing and spouting that we're fucking idiots, we're morons, we're pieces of shit for disagreeing with him. Because and he says one day and like and getting on this condescending level of like we just haven't been through it, and one day when we go through what he goes through we'll understand, which is almost implying that like we can't choose our own destiny. One day hopefully we'll feel the same pain he did and be able to sit there and commiserate in that pain. And that's not cool. You know what? If he wants to rage and do something, then leave your fucking living room or wherever the hell you cast from constantly and try to inciting others and go out and do something. Go out and rage. Don't talk about rising up and taking it back and then simultaneously try to win as a write-in governor for Florida. Because either you despise the system or you want to be written in as part of the system. Huh? Which one? I'm not cool with hypocrites. That's my problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking. But do you think it's maybe it's a little more constructive if we show people? Huh?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something else. Please go on.
I mean, if we just show people from how we do, right? I don't think you've been.
That's what I was trying to do. That's what I was trying to do. In fact, like I started talking to him because I really felt for his situation, and we had a lot of good dialogue. And then he got really annoying, and I actually like unfriended him, and he refriended me, and like all this other shit. And then, but it comes down to when it gets to the point of me talking about something that, yes, I first read in a book and then practiced in real life, but it doesn't queue up with what he thinks. I'm wrong. I'm going by a book, and one day I'll learn. All these kids, they just think they know what they read, and blah blah blah. Like he just goes on and like he just when it gets to the point where it controverts his narrative, then he don't. And like the fact that he could be so disrespectful to me and Mike like that when we're just offering information, it's uncalled for.
Okay. So I'm trying to get it to.
He wants to be heard. He doesn't want solutions that individuals can do. He wants the mob rising up behind him so he can exact the vengeance he thinks that needs to be exacted.
Well,
I'm very good at bullshitting ourselves, and I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of my own capacity to bullshit myself, which is why I'm always on guard for it, and it's also why I can sniff it out real fast than others. I also, whatever, I do study and practice what I study, and I'm always learning. It's like people who, like, I don't think I know everything. Far from it. That's why I know so much. It's like you don't get to know a lot of things by thinking you know everything. But we can't have those kind of...
All right, so I'm gonna speak for Brother John because apparently I'm told I can't bring him on. I'm listening to some of the elders in our community, and they're they I guess they saw a lot more of what happened, so they're saying now is not a good time. It's too soon, so we won't do that today. Just from the things I'm listening to, I would say that Brother John is an expert in what he experienced. Right? I would say that he is an expert, right, in the data that he has and what he's experienced. And all we can do is interact and share those things. I guess for me, generally, when I find that someone's not really ready to hear things that I say, I try my best to not put it in their face. I try my best to just keep it on my page, and I try.
He took it to a very disrespectful place. That's what set it off. Nothing else.
Right. Well, and those are times I think that you walk away, right? I think there are times that we have to walk away and just say we agree to disagree.
Look at that comment. Do you think just making up...
I didn't look at it. Hold on.
and telling lies is going to change anything for you. What basis does he have to say any of that to me?
Yeah.
Like, see?
So yeah,
Yeah, so that's his style.
I have to say that everybody's got their own style. I'm going to back out of that discussion for now because I agree that there's too much emotion there. It's not ready yet. The soup isn't ready. I see that it is there. But what I try to do, man, is I try to show people, listen, like, this is how I do things. I don't care how you do things. This is how I do things. When people start to throw names, like I'll say things like, no, I think being a race is stupid. I do. I think that being a race is a bad idea. I don't make my kids colors and I don't tell them they're part of a race. And people get very violent over that with me. Like they've said some things. I mean, people, they don't like that. They really want me to be a color very badly. And usually when I run into people like that, I say, listen, we're going to agree to disagree. You're trying to take it to a personal level. When you start throwing names to me, it means that you don't have anything that you want to discuss. It means I probably hit a chord and I'm just going to back out of the conversation. I'm going to let you, go about your own way. And for me, I think that works for the most part. There have been times that people come back and apologize later. There are times that they don't. But what we're talking about things that people are very, very passionate about. When I tell people that, white privilege exists, but there's also black privilege. Right? When I say things like that, they don't like them. There's.
But you hit it on the head before. White privilege doesn't exist. Black privilege, class privilege exists, if anything. Like
I believe in all the privileges, right? Like I think that everybody's got a different mixed bag, right? And it might be, mine is I had good parents. Right?
Me too.
I had parent privilege. I had food privilege. I had house privilege. I had education privilege. I had all these privileges. And so the only thing that I like to speak about the privileges that I had. Right, things that I know exist. I do my best to use those to help people. Right, and if everyone wants to agree on the other sides of it, I'm fine with that. But I don't believe that I'm going to use any of those as strategies to get a one up on anybody. I'm going to use what I know to try to help people. Okay, but that makes people very passionate and aggressive. Mm-hmm.
I think we get clear on on what privilege means, because privilege is something granted to you for the surrender of something else. That's what a privilege is. That's what you get privileges from your parents for properly doing X or properly doing Y. You get privileges from an institution for doing this or that. Things you are born with, attributes, are not privileges. They're attributes. You cannot be held in condemnation for what you are born with. You may be able to be held in condemnation for what you do with what you're born with, but it's not privilege. Privilege, you surrender one thing to get a privilege. And a right is not something that just is given to you and you can just do. A right is always paired with a responsibility. So there's you get benefits and privileges for the surrendering of rights. Because the surrendering of rights is the abdication of responsibility. So those who want to be truly free, quote unquote, and those who really want to have rights must exercise those rights. If you do not exercise those rights, no one will give you those rights. You will be deemed to have abandoned those rights. That's the way it goes. You have the right to do a million different things you don't do. I have the right to do a million different things I don't do.
So let me think through this. So when you're born with certain things, certain empowering abilities,
those are things I'm grateful for. Why would you feel guilty?
Well, hang on. So I do feel guilty, right? Like I feel guilty because where I grew up, I had a friend, and he was, I hate the terms, he came from mostly a European background.
Mm-hmm.
but he lived in abject poverty, right? His father left. His mother could barely take care of the 3 kids that she had. They lived basically in a shack. They lived in immense poverty. He would wear the same shoes for 3 years in a row, one pair of shoes. He was kicked out of it was a Memco and a Bradley's, these stores down the street, because he would try to steal because he didn't have lunch money for lunch. So after school, he would go down there and try to steal food. And I do feel guilty. I feel guilty that I would get on the bus every single day and I have nice new Jordans. I have new schools, but my parents would take me school shopping. I have a whole bunch of nice clothes and he would have nothing. And I had no idea back then that he was stealing for food. I had no idea. Well, he was stealing because his parents didn't have money. Back then, I had no sense of what poverty was. So I do feel guilty, not that I did something wrong, but I feel guilty that I live in a society that would allow any child of any race, of any background, to live in such poverty where they feel they have to steal from a grocery store to eat food. So it's not a personal guilt that I feel that I'll let anyone like use against me to control me like an abuser. Because I understand what you're saying, but it's a guilt. It's not a.
You felt
Mm-hmm.
you felt empathy and compassion, which is natural and amazing. But guilt is a personal thing. Guilt is something you feel personally for personally committing wrong action.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel guilty. I'm gonna keep pushing it because I'm still feeling it. I feel guilty, not that I did something wrong knowingly, but that I was complicit in a society that does these wrongs. Like I played my part, and whether I knew I was playing my part or not, I still today am a part of it, and I still back then was a part of it. And so maybe, I mean, guilt could be the right word, the wrong word. It feels like guilt, but it's an empowering thing. It's not something I let somebody levy against me to control me like an abuser, because I know where you're going, and for people who's not understanding what
those are powerful things. Empathy and compassion are very powerful when they're consciously directed and recognized. I feel.
Right. So let me try to process just to make sure. Mm-hmm.
You didn't make anyone poor. You didn't say. You didn't push somebody out of the incarnation line so you could jump into the body of someone born into a family that had things. You know, it's like what there is to feel guilty about is if you know these things. If I knew what I knew and did nothing with it, I would feel guilty. If I knew what I knew and was, you know, I would never know what I know and try to only help myself with it. So I would never feel guilty about that. But I feel blessed for what I was blessed with, and I'm grateful for what I have. And I don't begrudge or fight against anyone else that has anything else. I love seeing others do well. I do.
Okay. Let me try to. I'm processing what I'm hearing you saying, what I'm reading in the room. So, as a society, I feel guilty. Let me say it that way. As being part of a society, like there's personal guilt, right? And there's guilt that you can probably have when you work for a corporation, what they're doing. I got that too. But as a society, I do feel guilt. Personally, I don't feel guilt. So let me define it that way, and hopefully y'all agree with that in terms of what I'm saying. But as a society, I feel that guilt, and that guilt allows me to empower myself to deploy that guilt and empathy to try to help as many people as possible that don't just have brown skin, but people across the board who are being raised in ways that we shouldn't be raising people as in a society with such wealth. So that's
there's too many people that want but what you're doing through that is you're figuring out ways to live differently and take care of yourself and take care of others. And what a lot of other people are doing are looking to blame some system and then say how that system should be taking care of them. If people don't want to take care of themselves, no one else will take care of them. No one will do it for them. And that doesn't mean they have to have the same means. It means they have to have the same drive to receive the opportunity when it is given to them. And I think a lot of people are ignoring the opportunities they have around them to complain about the opportunities they don't. Because it's never easy to change, ever.
So I'll say that I disagree with that to a degree.
Okay.
If you don't have what you need, I have what you need, I think I'm willing. I think it's my job to give it to you. I think that
no, and I agree there, but it's also the job of the person who you're giving the opportunity for to take the chance to use that to maintain their own ability, not to just rely on you to provide for them.
Yeah, right. So I agree with that. Like, you should,
from practice and experience. So obviously it's not. I mean, Randy, I don't know what you're talking about.
So I agree with you. I agree that it's better to give a person a fish for the day, but you also give them a fishing rod and you show them where to fish so they can go get their own fish, right? So I agree with that, and that's the old debate about if welfare works. We know welfare doesn't work. Right? We know it's a system to enslave people. It's a system to make people dependent. But it's not my place to tell other people that they have to provide for somebody else either, right? And that's an act of violence. It's an act of violence for me to say that you have to take care of that person. Where I'm coming from is that as a society, I do feel that guilt, and that we need to take care of these people. And so my vote in society is that we take care of the people who need to be taken care of. We give them fish. Some people only need one fish and a fishing rod. Some people need 3 or 4 fish for 3 or 4 days, right, to kind of come up. And if I can bring this all back full circle, this is what I'm going to say. I think that Brother John has been through such horrible situations that I do anything I can to provide him his fish, which might be a little space to let him show a little more aggression than what I have, because I don't have as much as what he has, so that he can get to a place perhaps closer to where I might be, where I'm not as angry.
I tried to give him fish and a rod, and he belittled me for it and ridiculed.
Which is okay. It just means he needs more fish, right? It just means that, okay, you keep the rod, step back, let him chew on the fish for a little bit, and kind of give him space till he's ready, right? So this is kind of my take on the welfare portion. Is different people have different needs, right? Some people were raised in really horrible upbringing as kids. Like the kid I grew up next to, my friend, his name was I probably shouldn't say his name, but that I grew up with. He and his sister, and he had an older brother. He's been in the prison system. He's been in and out. He's been in abusive marriages. I mean, he really completely went the way. Being even from this European background, because race has absolutely nothing to do. If you're raised in an abusive home, you're going to end up being abusive. You're raised in this artificial scarcity. It's going to happen. So he became a complete stereotype. Mm-hmm. If he were released today, and I could take care of him and I can take him in, I understand that he's not going to eat one fish, right? And grab that fishing rod and go. He's been in a prison system. He's going to have a lot of unpacking to do, right? And I just feel that it's my place in society, in this society, that really did that to him, right? Like, that wasn't his choice. He made choices later in life, but initially he wasn't given a hand that was fair. I feel that it's my place to make sure that I give him enough fish till he's ready to fish on his own. And so I think when we box people up, we make mistakes, because everyone's different. Mm-hmm.
There's some people that will never be ready to fish on their own. Unfortunately,
That's true too.
Be lazy and disingenuous people.
They're those two, absolutely. But how do we know who is who?
But look, I believe it or not, I gave John a lot of rope. A lot. I was like, and like I said,
I know you do. I know you did, because I think I know you a little bit. I'm pretty sure you did.
and I was not the first one to get mean and gritty and disrespectful.
I don't. Yeah, I've never seen you start with anybody. I believe that too.
So
I'm just asking. I guess I'm asking.
like I know so many people who, even the people I work with, who are not of European descent. My main partner has brown skin too. He has 4 boys that he homeschools himself, that he did natural births with completely, and that, knowing what he knows about the system, was able to put them in a situation where, excuse me, they will never be in some of the predicaments we're in, because we've been on top of that shit. Because we operate in trust and we work together. But I know, but many of them, many people I work with come from circumstances that they could have gone and become stereotypes, and they didn't. So I know that that can happen, but it's not what always happens. And like, I can't waste exorbitant amounts of my time and my energy trying. Like I said, I'm not trying to change people's minds. I'm trying to show them a way, if they really wish to do those things that they're talking about doing. If they don't want to look into that, it's on them. Because I can't give you a process that I do that you can stand on without integrating the same knowledge I have to do those things. It would be dangerous and reckless for me to do that.
Yeah.
And but that's a lot of times.
Right. Because I agree with you. It may not be your place to do that, right? Like I think that we all have gifts. I think that we all got a place, right? And we have to deploy our time and our resources in the place that benefit, us, our collective world. These people aren't that word collective, but our society together. So Brother Bajorn says something there. He says, if a man is hungry, get into endless discussions about fishing? ? I'd say no. I think that no. I take that back. I'd say it depends on the man. It depends on the man. I'll think about, there's some people who are shiftless, right? There are some people who are lazy, and I think we as an environment tend to make people that way. We tend to help them. Where am I going with that? I'm going into transgenerational epigenetics, right? So we know that things can be handed down through DNA. And if you come from lazy parents, I don't know, if you come from parents who learn how to work the system, if you come from parents who came through the Holocaust, if you come through some of the experiments and the transgenerational epigenetic nuances that they've given down through mice, right? So we know that multi-generations, we can hand down things to children that make them aggressive, make them psychopathic, make them lazy, make them compassionate, make them with loving, make them with more fear. And some of these things even were handed down through the different slavery, right? So I would say it depends, Bajorn. It depends on the person. There are some people that, like I said, you can give them a fish right away and give them a fishing rod, and within a week they're out fishing. And there are others that we got to spend a little more time with. So it depends on the person. I think everybody's different. I think we live in a dynamic world. I think everybody has different needs. And if we actually love each other and we see each other as family and the cousins that we all are, then we'll figure out how to fit in. Like it'll make it work. I always try to remind myself, if I was born in your shoes, I'd be you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
If I were born with your genetics, if I were born with your family and your environment, the same brain that's in, my head, in your head, I would totally be you. And I would hope that I was born at a time, especially if I was a little kid and I was born with a lot of these issues, that I lived in a world where y'all would look out for me, right? Because I think at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to make sure that we look out for each other. We want to make sure that when we're gone, that the society looks out for our kids, for our grandkids, our nieces and nephews. We can become a society that looks out for each other, or we can continue down the route of survival of the fittest. And I think it's a bad idea to continue down this route of survival.
Yeah, those two things, because to a degree, look, we can't deny nature. We can't deny what is there. To a degree, what how it is. What we have to decide is what is our version of that. Is survival of the fittest purely the survival of the fittest individual and individual alone, or is it survival of the fittest individual and what those individuals can pass on to others? And we don't. We tend to think it has to be one or the other, either the individual or the group. But the group doesn't exist without the individual, ever. So you can't start with the group. You must start with the individual. And and there's something that we have to get through our heads. And every people can say it's deep, or flighty, or whatever, or esoteric or new agey. But of course, like, the other is always you, because every morning, each of us, or whenever we wake up, we manifest this entire universe and everyone and everything in it. And then when we go to sleep, we take it all with us. And each of us do that individually. And then when we're awake, we share this collective manifestation, and we're only reflected in the other. And that's all true. But we have to realize that. Like, really recognize that. Like, I kind of like we're looking for this mass shift in consciousness, but the truth is, us as a global civilization, we can't even put butt fucking as an issue to bed. I mean, I'm not saying, like, I agree with butt fucking. I don't agree with butt fucking. I think I just say it's something stupid we don't need to talk about anymore. People want to do whatever they want to do. Why the fuck is that an issue? And that's what we need. We can't even get over that, and we're looking to make this leap. We need to get real.
Yeah. Well, I think when it comes to stuff like that, that we let it be an issue. It's like race and anything else. We engage in the dialogue like it's actually a dialogue. Like, for me, I don't even engage in the dialogue. Like, when it comes down to what you do with your genitals or your life, like, it's not even a dialogue. You're not even going to come to me and talk to me about somebody else doing it's not even a right. Like, if someone came to me and they were talking to me about you, brother, and say, oh, well, you know what? I don't think Jay should have those guns. Say, well, wait a minute. Whose guns are they? Are they Jay's guns? It's not even a discussion point. Like, and to a degree, I will do my best to make people feel ridiculous that we're actually having a discussion about what you do with your body or your personal things. If it's an abortion, if it's whatever it is, none of it's my business. None of it. And I find it a de-evolved condition that we even engage in a dialogue with someone who thinks that they have a right to tell someone else what to do with their bodies. So but I agree with you. There are people who want to keep that a topic. I think we deny them that. In terms of survival of the fittest, I wanted to address that. It's in terms of survival of the fittest. I don't think survival of the fittest should exist on any level above Earth, right? And the reason why I say that is because science has gone far enough now that we know the universe is trying to kill us. So we know that there's an asteroid on its way here right now. In fact, not only that, there are 10 asteroids that are on their way here right now to knock out the next 10 generations of stupid humans that are fighting with each other when they're in a chaotic world where the universal climate always changes. So something is always trying to wipe us out. There's always an avian flu. The Earth is always trying to do these balance and shift things. And so in terms of survival of the fittest, I think we are lost as a species if we're not at the Earth level. If our science is at the Earth and universal level, and we know that all these things are trying to kill us, if we're not working together as a group to prevent that, to keep the survival of our planet and the human race, then we really don't deserve to be here. And I guess, in my opinion, I don't think that we've proven that we've evolved because we're not sentient.
I agree with that. I think that's something more people need to take to heart, because I don't think a lot of people do, man. I don't think a lot of people on your stream really do.
Well, so
I think they like that you talk about the the problems that they want people to talk about, but they don't like really want to talk that much about the solutions. They want to have people to rage with.
But when it comes to and there are a lot of people who rage, and that's okay. Outrage matters. Outrage lives matter. That's how you know when to help people, because you hear the outrage. But and that's not even one that I really engage in too much, because we know that we have robots to take care of people. I think we get lost in survival of the fittest because we don't really focus.
I agree too.
Corporations do on the future of this. Like, we can use automation and robots and drones to murder each other, or we can use them to feed each other. And so the age old debate about welfare, like, why was welfare such a bad thing? It was a bad thing because you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? And that really, really pissed Peter off. So I totally get that. But now we're in a different world. We're in, like we were talking before, talking to somebody about fishing their whole life and they never get it, but their kids get it. We can do, because we have limitless resources to do that. And so, and this is where you and I agree, certainly spot on, which is, you don't want to eat the rich, right? That's stupid. You don't want anything that they have. All we need are the systems to actually take care of people, and we're all good.
You don't fight using, if you don't want to become the enemy, you don't fight using the weapon of the enemy. Like, did you watch you see the Lord of the Rings movies?
Oh man, come on. What kind of question is that? You asked if I watched Lord of the Rings.
Well, one of the things, like, actually, like, I've been reading those books since I was like 8 years old. They're like my favorite series. And what I didn't appreciate in the movie, in the second movie, was something amazing that happens in the book, and that is when Frodo and Sam encounter Faramir, Boromir's brother, and like in the movie, Boromir tries to take the ring back to Osgiliath before he, or in the movie, he tries to take it back before he realized he shouldn't. But in the book, he guesses straight at what they have, and Frodo is worried if he's going to try to take it because he remembers what happened with Boromir. And he said, and because like Faramir in the book is such a stand-up dude, he's like, honestly, he goes, I know what you have, and if I saw it lying on the ground, I wouldn't pick it up. I'd rather die than fight using the weapon of the enemy. And that is sort of how I feel.
The words.
But I don't think we'll understand well enough what the weapons of the enemy truly are in this sphere. So the system is the system, period. What the overlays on the system may be the weapon of the enemy. So I will not use fear to get what I want. I won't use coercion or intimidation or lies to get people to do what I want. I won't give them platitudes. I won't tell them what they want to hear so they'll say what I want to say. I rather not. Because then at least I know those standing shoulder to shoulder to me are genuine and can pick up a torch if I fall. That's, that's sustainability.
I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that in a couple ways. I'll shift that and say that I don't want to use the tools of the enemy. Unfortunately, the enemy raised me. The enemy indoctrinated me. And so every time I catch myself using hate to fight hate, I pull myself back. Every time I catch myself trying to, because I do it. I think we all do it. I think we all slip. It's just how unfortunately we're raised, and trying to look in the mirror and edit it. But it's spot on. And this is where I certainly agree with you in terms of the disagreement discussion you had with John is, you can't use violence to fix this problem. You can't use revolution. You understand the anger and the pain and the upset ways that he feels. But if we take on the tools of the enemy, we become the enemy, right? And so this has to be the first revolution in the history of the human race that is focused on a good outcome of this interaction we're having with these corporations that seem to take over our world. And the only way we do that is not through violence.
Right.
That's the only way we can do it.
We need evolution, not revolution. Revolution is just another turn of the wheel. Same wheel, different turn. Evolution is what we need. Right. And I think that I'm, you know, like what you just said, it reminded me of, you know, the quote to err is human and forgiveness is divine. So yes, everyone errs, absolutely. Like everyone, me included, you're tempted to use the weapon of the enemy because yes, you were. I wouldn't say I was raised by the enemy, but you're raised in the enemy's midst, so to speak. You're raised in the midst of whatever divisive systems within the system are around you. But
Right.
only self-awareness, only the consciousness of self can move on to anything else. It's like one of my favorite, like, because the whole enemy thing, one of my favorite proverbs, it's like an old like African proverb. It's like, if there's no enemy within, then the enemy without can do you no harm. And I've made peace with my enemy within. So even though however I sound, no one's my enemy. I'm
Right.
always ready to forgive and move on. I'd be happy to, but I will not. There's certain ground I won't see. So,
You know what? Let me jump in with that one, because you know the thing that I see with that is most times when I'm in a heated discussion with someone, I find, and it's rare now. The older I get, the less I try to do that, brother. But I find it's not even me that's disagreeing with them. It usually is my indoctrination or the level of data that I have. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? Like, usually it's the limits of what I understand when it comes to the beginning of what they do. And it's the indoctrination and fighting indoctrination. It's not even me that's doing the fight. This is why I think that we don't have a lot to fight over, because usually that's all what the fights really ever are. It's just we all have different data, and
that's and that I
Mhm.
agree. That's the tragedy of all this, brother. It's like that we don't have that much to fight about. We don't have that much to
We have
disagree about,
nothing to.
and but we cling to this bullshit, and it's maddening to me sometimes because to me I don't see why we can't just all stop and go within so we could go without prosperously. But for
Yeah,
some reason, it seems like a big problem for us. You
yeah,
can't move into the future holding on to the hate of the past. You have to
yeah,
you have to.
yeah, and try to keep as much emotion out of it. Like, but they're rolling out 5G. They're rolling out 5G, and we all are going to be under it. And so, a more important topic is to work to maybe slow that down, if not stop that, as to fight over the concepts. So I agree with everybody, and I disagree with everybody. It just based on what they said. Like Brother Bajorn said something which was key too, just a minute ago. He said that capitalism is violence based, and to a degree, he's right.
Well, no,
Right?
I
Because
never got isms,
Mhm.
G. I want to make that clear. Isms are always violence based. I didn't say I'm for capitalism or that I'm just a capitalist. In fact, I said I'm not just one thing, but we cannot ignore the fact that there is capital, and we need to just like our own talents and abilities, we need to figure out how to properly coordinate and operate that capital. Like that, I'm not an ismist person. I'm a dynamic human being who is multifaceted, and I cannot be described with one word or 10 words, or every word in our fucking language does not sum up what and who I am, and it never will.
Right,
So, which is why
right,
I will never identify with this group bullshit. I identify as a human being, and I identify other people as human beings. And when they talk and act like less than that, it saddens and offends me at the same time.
right. Well, and this is where I'll jump back to the whole anti-ism thing. Is 98% of everybody has everything in common. They probably just disagree over the ism. That's it. And we can't let the isms really, cause problems enough to keep the isms.
Right.
So, all right, well, brother, I got to get going.
Yo, man,
So go ahead and let you have any last statement you want to drop or anything, I appreciate you coming on. And
No,
we'll certainly.
I appreciate you having me. I love being able to have discussions like this, and I love being able to show an example of the fact that you and I, we don't agree on every particular in the world, but what we do agree, we seem to very much agree on the principal issues, on the core things, and that's what matters. As long as people can recognize they do agree on that, then this open discourse, this actual exchange of ideas can take place. But it can only take place between conscious and constantly informing and reinforming individuals. Like you and I both seem to be the type who believe in what we believe, have faith in what we have faith in, but aren't afraid or ashamed to abandon and change a mind or point of view if it's for our own betterment and the betterment of our big picture. And I think that I'm glad to be able to do this with you, man. I'm very honored. Thank you.
I appreciate it. No, don't be honored. This is what we have to do, and I appreciate the disagreements. This is what we need. We need to be able to iron sharpens iron, and you got things to think about. Hopefully, you have things to think about. Hopefully, Brother John has some stuff to think about too. And you know, I'll probably do more and more of this in the future. I do want to do more panels, and so if there is anybody else out there, what we'll do is we'll try to present a couple topics, and then I'll send some invites out to people who say they want to jump on and kind of put your points forward. Let's do that. And that way it can become even a greater discussion. I know there are a lot of people who don't want to press that live button and go live because it's hard to do. It's hard to put yourself out there and have a bunch of people looking back at you and dropping comments. And so, you know, I think if we do it more in a dialogue that's friendly and we're trying to solve problems and come about solutions and find common ground, I think it's a little easier. So I'll do more and more of that. To somebody who's interested in doing that, let me know, and I'll start to put you on the list. I see you, Brother Randy. I'll put you on the list. We certainly appreciate you. Hey, listen, Brother Jay, you have a. I'm sorry.
I'd be happy to have a respectful debate and/or dialogue with anyone. Just come correct.
All right, most definitely. I have to get you and John on in the future at some time. But let's wait for let's let a little more water pass under that bridge, and we'll see if we can't heal that up. All right, hey brother, you have a great day. Appreciate everybody joining. Love y'all. Take care now. Bye-bye.